we dash back to the west as Space City hosts the 14th round of Monster Energy Supercross. Who's next to take off?
3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
After 2 months off, the 250 West thunders into NRG Stadium. Is Cooper Webb ready to clinch this thing? Or will Hansen, Bowers, and Osborne push him all the way to Vegas? It's RD, the Dungeonator, the Diesel. Whatever you call him, are you ready to call him champion? Stick with us today for all the qualifying action on Race Day Live. Hello everyone, welcome to Race Day Live on supercrosslive.com. We're here for round 14 in NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. It's the 2015 Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship. I'm your host, Andy Boyer. Beside me, as always, is former factory Yamaha rider, Supercross legend, Jim Hollywood Holly. Welcome to the show, folks.
Well, it's great to be here, and can you believe it? Only 4 more rounds. You got Houston, San Francisco. I'm looking forward to that. Santa Clara Stadium, a new venue for us. Then we go to New York, East Rutherford, New Jersey, MetLife Stadium, and then Las Vegas, the final. I mean, where did the season go?
Just in a flash. In a flash. Here we are, 4 to go. Exciting night tonight. We have a great lineup of guests for you guys. We're going to have Austin Politelli, hard-charging 250 West racer. He's racing for autism, has a good effort going there. We're also going to have Adam Intignap, the 7 Deuce Deuce, is back in the house to join us here on Race Day Live. A lot of help there. We're also going to have Daniel Blair from the AMSOIL Arena Cross Series, the Ricky Carmichael Road to Supercross. We're going to talk to him. Also going to talk to legendary Steve Wise, Texas racer, the most versatile racer to race a motocross bike, I think, ever. Going to be great to have him. And also joining us is going to be Ralph Sheheen, jack of all trades. He's done, if it's behind a camera or on a microphone, Ralph Sheheen's done it. So, what a great show.
Yeah, and I got to ask Ralph about that. It says he's won the Baja 1,000 or 500. Yes. The 1,000, I want to ask him his adventure down in Baja, though. But just a great broadcaster, like he said. It's a great show, that's for sure. We're going to have a lot of great guests.
Got a great track. But the most exciting thing, not the most exciting thing, but one of the most exciting things is the 250 West is back. After 2 months off, Cooper Webb can wrap this thing up with a 30-point lead, but he's got the Wolves on his tail, and they're coming. Let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights from San Diego the last time we saw him.
Final race for the 250 West Championship before their big break. Petco parked this site for round 6, and it's a gate drop. Charging into the right-hander. Everybody fighting for traction. And it's the Husqvarna that comes out with the whole shot.
Zach Osborne out front. You've got Cooper Webb, the points leader, in second. Malcolm Stewart's in there, and Tyler Bowers on the Kawasaki. Gives Webb a little bump and takes over second position. But watch how things change at the end of this rhythm section. Watch Stewart and Webb get close. Stewart goes down hard.
He looked good earlier in the day, and down he went and out of it. Bowers would make his way to the front, and the 4-time AMSOIL Arena Cross champ would be leading here in San Diego.
Bowers really had a great pace out front. Looked like he really had a shot of pulling away in this one. Some other riders back in the pack here. Watch Jesse Nelson. Gets to the inside.
Down would go Bisceglia on the 38. And Webb and Bowers, they've had quite the rivalry this year, beating and banging and pushing and shoving and comments on the podium. But tonight, it's Webb that was quicker.
Well, and it was really surprising because Webb had a massive crash in practice. It was doubtful if he'd even race, and the battle behind intensified.
McGrath comes by, and Shane would get himself up into second. It would be a career best finish for him. Checkered flags, and Cooper Webb, after such a trying day with the big crash, takes the win and puts himself in a great position for the championship as the West title takes a break for now.
What a night of racing that was, Jim.
It was, and the thing that I like is you got to see these two friends, Webb and Bowers. You know, they off the track, they hugged each other. I mean, they had their moments earlier part of the season in Oakland. They weren't going out to dinner, that's for sure, around that time. But you know, you look at Cooper Webb when he came off the track there, he kind of stretched that shoulder rather, that he injured in practice. And like Emmett said, we didn't think he was going to ride, but I mean, it was just an incredible win for him, as well as Shane McElrath, his first podium of his career.
Yeah, that whole podium altogether had a lot of stories involved there. It was military appreciation night, and these guys had to dig deep. Cooper Webb went down huge in practice. We didn't, like you said, Jim, we didn't even think he was going to race, let alone come through the pack and win this thing. And then Tyler Bowers there, you can't really tell in this picture, but he was sweating bad. He was sick. He's still not feeling 100% from what I gathered in my walk through the pits, but that was a special time there for the 250 West in Petco Park. It was a wonderful night of racing. These guys are back, and this 250 West, I really like this class. It's deep.
And it's been a long time. I mean, you know, you got to go back to February 7th. That's the last time we saw these guys ride, although we did get a chance to see Cooper Webb on that East Coast in Atlanta. He's from North Carolina, so he came down. He wanted to watch the last. I really think that he wanted to see, you know, what he was up against for that East-West shootout in Las Vegas, Sam Boyd Stadium on May 2nd there. But, you know, just kind of checking out. But like you said, adrenaline, Andy, you know, that can push you through a night. But I'm sure that next morning, Sunday morning after on the 8th,
he was sore.
He was sore, definitely. But let's take a look. We got the track map coming up.
Yeah, we got
interesting
an awesome track here in Houston. The Kawasaki track map is up. Let's see it.
Well, it's great dirt here in Houston. You're going to run it into that first turn, a left-hander. You got a timing section right away, but it's interesting because they're going to run that section backwards, as you see later on. You go under the over and under bridge, up and over the over and under bridge here. And then once you land off of this, you land on that downside, you have a double, maybe a triple, you can hit the sand, you got to go right only
turn.
On the first lap, that's it. Then you get into a nice double, step on, step off, a nice rhythm section through here, a nice right-hander after that. Double out of this thing, carry that momentum into the whoops. Short whoops, tough but short. A left-hander up and over the Monster Energy finish line. After that, you're going to hit another double that's going to send you into that right-hander and up and over the over and under bridge again. You're going to land on that downside. Maybe you can triple into that sand section like we see here. That sand section, don't go right. You got to go left this time. After that left, a little dragon back up and off of that, the 65-foot triple. Then you're going to turn and make a right-hander, and you're going to go backwards down this whole section.
Same way you came.
And we've never had that in the 40-year history plus of Supercross. Into that right-hander, and then back onto the track there. It's going to be interesting, but the Feld Motorsports group and the Feld track group have done a great job. They put out a lot of Monster Energy barriers to direct the guys on the first lap, because I don't think if they had those barriers out, you'd have some guys going in some different directions. But definitely, to say the least, an interesting track here in Houston in NRG Stadium.
I love it. You know, everybody's been saying the tracks are the same, the tracks are the same. Well, this one's not the same. This one is really different. And we have a couple diagrams here we're going to do to help you guys keep track of what's going on. You know, as they take off on the whole shot, Jim, go ahead and lead them around that first corner again and remind them what's going to happen there.
Yeah, you're going to see that red arrow. That's that left-hander. You're going to go through that timing section. That's it. That's the only time you're going to take it. The face of those jumps will stay pretty clean. But then after that, when you come down through that sand the first time, you're going to hook into that right-hander, and that's the only time you'll use that. When you come back around, you'll go left, but this time you go right. And then, like you said, as we're going to see the arrow come up, you're going to run that whole timing section over there by the Kawasaki banner in the stands. You're going to run it backwards.
At the conclusion of lap number 1, exactly. You know, we just watched the first couple practices click off, and it's been great so far. You know, everybody's been great. The riders like it. Everybody on track walk seemed to be favorable about it. So that's going to be really cool. We got new dirt here in Houston. The track looks amazing. We've had some cool action in the first open and qualifiers so far. Matter of fact, guess who was fastest in the first 250 non-qualifying?
Well, I would say number 34, Malcolm Stewart. He looked good out there. You can tell Malcolm with those dreadlocks out there how fast he's going by how those dreadlocks are going. If they're sailing back
straight
there,
back.
He is hauling butt out there, and he looks good here tonight here in Houston. And another guy in that 450, number 3, Eli Tomac, in that free practice had the fastest time there. But you saw behind us some of the Feld track crew doing a little bit of maintenance. Something different here in Houston that we see a little bit more sand than I've seen in years past. So I think that's kind of what they're kind of fixing up. And, you know, we always talk about it each and every weekend, Andy. You know, what looks good on the paper not necessarily works on the track, and I think they're changing a couple of the little whoops in that sand section there because they got the big dozer out there behind us.
Right. It's like we've already said, it's different dirt this weekend from the typical Houston racing dirt that we've had over the last 10 years. This is new stuff, and it's a lot more tackier, a lot less loose. So they've added some sand to it to try to break it up a little bit. But what that's going to do is allow for more track prep. The ruts are going to get bigger. The breaker bumps are going to get taller. It's going to be a challenging track here tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be challenging just for that starting line alone because, like you said, once you go through that section there, you're only hitting it one. But when you come back there's going to be ruts. They're going to push the tops of the jumps. So they're going to have to take an eye on that and kind of maintain that timing section there. But right now they're just working on that sand section there, pushing some of the dirt together and kind of making it because some of the guys, that's what we have free practice for. It's not only for the riders to go out there and get a chance, but it's also for the riders to come back and relay some information to the Feld track crew and say, look, I think if we change this and that, smooth this section out, it's going to make for better racing. And that's what we want, in reality. We want great racing.
Better racing.
And we're going to have it here tonight.
Absolutely, man. Let's keep talking about this 250 West class. We have Aaron Plessinger, who's done really well. Zach Osborne. Shane McGrath gets his first podium last time we were out in San Diego. Josh Hansen. It goes on down the list how deep this division is. Matt Bichelia, another guy, the Geico Honda rider, Malcolm Stewart's teammate. He's been really fast. He needs his moment in the sun.
Well, and there's one other guy that we kind of forget about, and I didn't really forget about it, but the man who runs that number 32, he's Dungey's teammate there.
Justin Hill.
Yeah. 22nd, the last time we saw him out, he had his problems in San Diego. I talked to him. He's ready to go. He's been doing a lot of outdoor testing. He's healthy. He's ready to go. Look for him possibly to get in there and try to win one of these last two that we have. We have here, and then next weekend in Santa Clara where Colin Kaepernick plays. I'm looking forward to that stadium there, Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. That'll be an interesting one. And it's not only a new place for those guys, but it's also new for us to try to figure out where we're at, what door you open, what door goes here. I have all these stadiums kind of down. You've seen it, Andy.
I follow you, John.
I get in and out. I have, but I'm going to have my work cut out for me next weekend.
Yeah. We have our work cut out for us tonight trying to pick who's going to win this thing. Cooper Webb's been the heat, but Houston Supercross has a penchant for first-time winners. I made some notes here. Some of the biggest names in Supercross, 125 Supercross history, got their first one in Houston. Jimmy Gaddis in 1993, Jeff Emig in 1990, Travis Preston, the one in 2001. Now, what's significant about that?
Well, and other first-time winners in that 450 class, how about this? Jimmy Weinert, 1976. Brock Glover, 1980, got his first win here. And then Trey Canard, he's not with us this weekend with that injury, but 2011, Trey Canard won here in Houston. So not only on the 250 side of thing, a lot of first-time winners, but a lot of first-time winners in that 450 class.
Absolutely, and it's going to be an awesome show. You can feel the championship pressure. We're talking to Dungey. He seemed pretty loose today. We got a good interview in with on the track walk, but and I'm like, what are we going to do tonight? We're going to have fun. He's like, well, we got to get through the race first. So
yeah, I think Dungey's one of those type of guys. We've heard it, and we've known Dungey since he turned professional, that he's just going about this race like it's not a championship that he can clinch tonight. It's just another win that he wants to try to get.
Yeah.
If he gets the win tonight, that'll present the championship, and he knows that. So he's just looking to go out here and try to get a win.
Race.
And you know what? We talked about it in Detroit when we saw Eli Tomac win and Dungey was out front. If the win presents itself, Dungey's going to go for it. But if not, he'll take a second.
He will.
He'll take a third, and he'll take home that 2015 Monster Energy Supercross Championship.
Well, the one thing that's really going to get him on his way to doing that is a good start. And like last weekend in St. Louis, we had Adam Inticknap help demonstrate the whole shot device. Well, he was with us again here, Jim, in Houston, and we saw how that whole shot device works when it's up, when it's down. It was really cool to have Adam come and help us with that. That's what Dungey's going to need, and Cooper Webb. They're going to have a start. Like Jeff Hemmings says it every week, the key to the race, get the whole shot. So when Adam went, there we go. And see how far the front of the bike is down there.
Well,
Jeff?
this is, when it's engaged, we're going to watch Adam come off the gate here. His elbows are up, his body's transferred, because you're going to have a lot of traction here as he comes out of the gate. You're going to see its tracks nice and straight and everything. But, let's roll that thing back, because I want to see, I don't know if you caught it, but watch his front wheel. His front wheel is off the ground. It is still off the ground about 4 to 6 inches, but it's in control. And that's the key. It's in control, and it's tracking nice and straight. now I want to see, you know, I told Adam, I said, hey, now let's do it the old school way, because I didn't have any of these whole shot devices. We had to roll the throttle off, and here it is. You can see the front wheel, how high up it is, and immediately when you drop the clutch, you got to feather it. It's wheeling with him. It's out of control. Both feet are down. He's not. It just doesn't work, and I wish I had that back when I rode. And then the other thing that you know, started, you know, back when I did, we didn't have the doghouse, and what the doghouse is it's not really a doghouse. It's just kind of to hide the guy who pushes the gate, because if you're on the left and the right of that, you can kind of see him move his foot, and then you could go and have a little bit of an advantage. Other guys were saying, hey, I don't have the control. I'm way down. We see the FIM representative there, John Gallagher. He was nice enough to trip the gate, but there, you can see the foot action. So now it's hidden, so you can't see that. And I think it makes it a fair start. But everybody still likes to be alongside the doghouse, because when that gate drops, you don't have to worry about anybody.
A little room.
You got a little bit of room, but you're not going to have a little bit of room when you run it down into that, down here into the first turn. You know, make sure you check out Fox Sports 2 tonight, because Fox is doing a piece on the starting, because, you know, we talk about Jeff Emig, and he talks about, you know, the whole shot. So they've interviewed a lot of riders and their techniques, and one of the guys they interviewed, he's
collected talk to the number 29, man.
Well, he's collected a lot of money from supercrosslive.com for those hole shots. I did an interview with him earlier. I said, what do you got, about 8 or 9 of those things now? He goes, well, I don't have that many. I go, you at least got 5 of them I can count off the top. But Andrew Short will be on there talking about how he'll talk, and then next weekend, the next 3 rounds, he won't get the whole shot. Somebody else will get it, you know. But it'll be a great piece on Fox Sports 2 tonight.
Going to be awesome. We got a great show for you guys tonight. The practice and qualifying is getting kicked up here and again when we get the track worked up. But let's talk about the 450 class and some of the things that haven't happened yet there. Weston Pike, he's got 4 top 5s. You know, he's been leading laps, getting good starts, but he was hurt. You know, he got hurt back in Phoenix. Then he came back, and he's been really, really fast.
Well, and I know our buddy, I talked to Kurt Binke this week. He gave me a call, and he says, you know what, I think Weston's going to get his first podium of his career here in Houston. You know, Barsha's back. His teammate, Justin Barsha, the man who runs the number 51, is back. But,
Big news there.
Kurt Binke said that, you know what, he's going to be on there. And then on the other side, my good buddy Joe Root says, no, Seeley's going to get another podium.
That was the next guy.
Seeley's sitting 4th in the points. You know, there's a big bonus if he finishes up in the third. Third right now is Trey Canard. But he's got to watch. He's going to watch right behind him there, Chad Reed. Chad Reed's a little bit behind Seeley, and I know Chad wants to finish out the year strong and be in the top 3 as well as Seeley. That'll be huge for him. Seeley, a rookie. But we got some track pieces we're going to go to, right?
Yeah, some of the biggest names in the sport. Me and Jim and I were down there to talk to him and see what their thoughts are for tonight in Houston. Andy Boyer with Race Day Live, presented by AMSOIL. We're here with Josh Hansen. Hey, I was talking to your mechanic, Castle. He said you've been riding every day since San Diego, man.
Yeah, it's been good. I've been working along with Davey Millsaps and Ezra Luss, and kind of just been on a riding program, and that's really helped me out a lot. Just it's one thing doing it off the bike, but just to actually have a plan each day and day out and getting stronger on the bike. So I'd really like to come out in these last 3 and make something of it.
You said your bike's gotten a lot better. You know, you've gotten better. You've been riding at the factory Kawasaki track. Is that true?
Yeah, everything's been sweet so far. So now it's just all in my lap to make things happen. Well,
you having fun racing again? Because it looks good. You got good speed. And I mean, is it fun to be back?
Yeah, I love it. This is what I grown up doing. But stepping away definitely opened my eyes. I don't want to be away from this. This is really my family, and that's what I love to do, is being on a motorcycle. So
cool. Speaking of family, how's the little girl?
This is awesome, man. It's a pretty cool. It's definitely a new chapter in my life, but it's been awesome. It's definitely very humbling, and it's been good so far.
Well, let's talk about where we're standing right now. This is the first time, I think, in Supercross history we're going to go down one lane and in the same lap come back the other. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've been kind of looking at the track map for the last couple of days, like, how are they going to do this, that? But I don't know. I mean, it's good that they change it up. You know, it makes it more exciting, something new. So I think it should be good racing.
Well, a 4th place finish at San Diego. What's up with the podium, man? Is it there? Can you reach it?
It's right there. Yeah, I need to reach that, and then as soon as I get that, then we can start making goals for maybe a win after that. But I got to get it done quick. We only got a few more rounds to go. So
2 more.
2 more. Yeah. Yep. 2 more in Vegas. So.
Well, everybody's glad to have you back. I know I'm glad to see you back racing. Good luck tonight, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Jim Hawley, Race Day Live, presented by AMSOIL. Well, Cooper Webb, here we are. It's been a while since I've seen you. Well, I actually did see you in Atlanta, but last time I saw you race on the 7th of February there in Petco Park.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long break for me. You know, unfortunately I had that bad crash in San Diego, so I had a little bit of off time, but yeah, we've just been riding and training and putting in the motos and just getting excited for here, and we're here and just ready to go racing, man. It's been a long break, like I said, and the track looks really good, so I'm pumped to go racing.
You talk about that track, something first they've tried in Supercross here. You're going to run the start left-hander, you go down through a whole section, you go around the track, and then you run that section backwards. Your thoughts? I know you were talking to your mechanic and trying to, well, can I do 3 here, 2 here, backwards this way?
Yeah, it's definitely tricky when you have to look at the rhythms going both ways, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. Something cool for sure, but different, you know, and I don't know. I guess we'll just kind of see how it is and see how it goes, and we'll try to figure it out as the race goes on.
You got a 30-point lead on Jesse Nelson. Jesse Nelson not riding, has he got off this week and hit his head, so he's next guy in line, 32 points. Tyler Bowers, you got a chance to wrap you up your first championship here on the West Coast. Yeah,
you know, that's an exciting thing for me. I got a 30-point lead on Jesse. He's not racing, but Bowers is 32 back. So yeah, we have a great opportunity tonight, and we'll just see. We're taking it, like a normal race, and just go after that win, and if it happens, it happens.
One more tonight, Santa Clara, a new stadium that we'll be at next week, but I want to ask you about that East-West shootout in Las Vegas. That's going to be a good one. You saw what Marvin Muskin can do on that East Coast.
Yeah, it'll be a good one for sure. I think bringing the two coasts together in Vegas will be an awesome race for everybody, and yeah, like you said, we'll get through these next couple and then go to the shootout and try to show them the West Coast is better, but we'll see. Be fun.
What did you do for the 2 months off? I mean, outdoor testing, or did you still work on some Supercross stuff, or what did you do? I know 3 weeks of it you were healing up with the shoulder, probably.
Yeah, 4 weeks off the bike after San Diego, and then did about 2.5 weeks of outdoors, and then we really just have been focusing on Supercross because obviously we're in the title hunt, so we want to try to do the best we can. So I'm feeling really good on Supercross, and then yeah, that's really about it. Just waiting.
Jim Holly Race Day Live presented by AMSL. Ryan Dungey, you got an 80-point lead coming in with 4 rounds to go. You got a chance, an opportunity to wrap it up. I know you're really not thinking about that. You're just thinking about wins.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the big picture, and we've talked about that all year. But yeah, that's the goal for sure. But tonight's it's night in itself, and you gotta get the job done just the same way we've done the last however many rounds. So coming into the night, just keep the focus, obviously, and good practices, good heat race, everything. It's gotta execute everything just like we practiced, and keep the focus.
A lot of people watching this video, they'd like to know, what did Ryan Dungey do on his weekend off for Easter?
I did a little outdoor riding the first week. Obviously, we had that full week, and then the weekend, I made the move down to Claremont, so I'm in between moving houses. So actually, not much. I stayed in Florida, and I put my house together as best as I could. And Lindsay, my wife, she's actually been a huge help. So that's what we did, and it was nice. Got a little downtime to relax, and when you're at it, we were at it for 13 weekends, and it feels a little weird to be sitting there on a Saturday, but we took it in, enjoyed it, and then got back to Supercross Monday, and obviously had a good solid week, and getting ready for Houston.
Well, we talked to the 2 championship hopefuls tonight. They both seem pretty confident, man.
Yeah, I mean, they know what's at hand. Dungey's been in this, spot before. He's won championships. He knows how to play it. The only one that hasn't, Cooper Webb, it's a little bit different for him. A lot more media attention on him. I know a lot of guys were out there from the other publications and stuff, just trying to get pictures of him, before the mayhem starts, because once it starts, you really want to, as a journalist, you really want to let that guy have his focus. You don't want to go up to him and bother him. Hey, what are you thinking about right now? You know what he's thinking about. He's thinking about that championship. He's thinking about a win.
Yeah,
and
a great big bonus check.
It's so nerve-wracking. I mean, I've only been in that one championship, well, some Mickey Thompson's, but the World Supercross Championship in the LA Coliseum. I mean, I think I had to come through the last chance race, and I was just so nervous. I kept making mistakes and crashing and things like that, but I think the most part, everyone just coming up and saying, good luck, man, we're pulling for you to win this championship for America, and this and that. And I'm going, Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, all right, thanks, and but it's nerve-wracking when you're going for your first championship.
Going for that championship.
Absolutely.
In any kind of racing or any series, I remember winning Kansas, state championship series, and being nervous about that. It's just when the championship's getting close, no matter what you say, it's a different day at the racetrack. You got to put your blinders on. You have to focus, get a good start.
Yeah, you talk about the focus. Let's take a look 2 weeks ago when we were in St. Louis. We got some highlights that I think are pretty good because a lot of people forget what happened 2 weeks ago.
450 action.
Round 13 of Monster Energy Supercross in St. Louis, the Edward Jones Dome. The gate dropped, and watch Andrew Short. He gets the whole shot using third gear, but watch what happens here. Hang on. Off he goes in a vicious tumble for Andrew Short.
Take another look here. Something happens. He fades to the right, goes over the bars. That's going to allow Ryan Dungey to take the lead out of the second turn.
Fortunately, Andrew was able to get up and push his bike off the track. On to the racing now, and Tomac battling with Weston Pike, who had gotten a good start. Tomac didn't, but Tomac would work his way through the field.
Tomac was very aggressive, quad into the turn, taking a different line through the split section. He would make that work for some passes. One more time, he's trying to make it work on Jason Anderson. Tomac to the right, Anderson to the left. Tomac takes the spot easily.
Ryan Dungey was out front on the Red Bull KTM, doing what he has done so many times this year, leading from the start to the checkers for career win number 20. He moves into a tie with the great Jeff Ward as he and his teammate Marvin Musquin match the night with wins, and Dungey celebrates in St. Louis.
And we're back in NRG Stadium here in Houston. We got 250B qualifying number 1 on the track right now. And that guy is just, the sand they put, Jim, intermittently all the way through the track, as we just saw right there. And they just did track work, and you can see how deep the ruts are already getting.
Yeah, I think that sand, when they add that into there, the soil that we have here in Houston, I think it's going to make it for that much better racing. I think in the years past they've had great traction, but I think it's going to be even better. And like you said, that sand is deep, as you can see. You can't see that guy's number. Looks
That's
like
Silverstein, 5. Andrew Silverstein. Canyon
there.
Lake, California, yeah.
Nice seat hop on that triple right there. And now he's going to come back on that timing section. You see another rider here going through the whoops there, and they're going to make that left-hander come up and over the finish line there. The Monster Energy finish line, that double, and then that over and under.
That's good. So far, your top 5 are Silverstein, Brett Olsruth, we got Church, Bannister, and Howell. Lots of sand. Lots of sand. It's going to make for some interesting action tonight. I can't wait to see how it really shapes up when we get into the heat races later on tonight on Fox Sports 2.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the guys, the Feld Motorsports group and the Feld track crew, they're going to put a little water into this as the practices wear on. When we have that intermission, when we had a lot of our guests on, I think they'll put a little bit of water into there.
And DC Shoes is proud to be the official footwear sponsor of AMA Supercross. Defy convention with DC Shoes. I thank all of our sponsors, Jim, for helping us stand up here and have a good time. It's been great all season long. Round 14. Got to thank Yamaha. And attention race fans, check out the national champion YZ250F and 2015 YZ450F 4-strokes at YamahaMotorsports.com today, or go to your local Yamaha Motorsports dealership.
Silverstein there with a 52.3, kind of leading the way out there. He actually just dropped it into the 51.5 for him, so he's starting to lay down some pretty good laps. And we talk about the sand, and you mentioned it, pretty much you got to lay down those good lap times right away in the beginning, because the sand's going to be changing. It's going to get deeper. It's going to get more ruddy. It's going to be a little bit more harder to lay down those lap times.
Absolutely. The track's going to change every lap, not just segment to segment. Every lap it's going to be different.
There's that sand section there. You can already see a lot of the different lines right there. They're kind of crisscrossing a few guys. And
guys in the middle,
you'll see
guys on the outside, inside.
Yeah, it's going to be treacherous there, especially as the night wears on. You got to remember that, you know, when they have a lot of practices out here, they're out there for 10 minutes and another 10 minutes, and they might groom the track or whatever. But those main events, once the heat racing starts, there's a little bit of an intermission. Maybe they can do a little track maintenance there, but that 20 laps in that 450 main event, it's going to be hard tonight in that sand.
It's going to be as good as it's been every weekend. I like the sand sections. You know, I know the mechanics don't like it. I've seen some posts on Instagram about the mechanics posted on there, and they got to wash the bike. You know, every practice session, every heat race, the bike gets all caked up with that sand. And
yeah, sand. It's just what it says. It's like sandpaper. It wears out bearings. It gets in the wheel bearings. It gets in the clutches, the cables, things like that. So they hate the sand. You know, normally in a Supercross, I guarantee you, they probably don't change the air filters, but when we have the sand that we've added today and the big roosts and stuff, I guarantee you they're putting in a fresh air filter for those main events.
There's Rhett Ursith right there. Jumping up to the top is Ulrich, Austin Ulrich.
Yeah, 151.2 there.
2/10 faster, right. All the way from Oregon. Estacada, Oregon. But here's Rhett Ursith here, just finishing up a lap. Solid lap time there. Again, got to comment on that dirt, Jim. You see how tacky it is. A little bit of dry spot right there. Is
a little
about the
hard.
driest part
yeah,
on the track.
That's where you come back. You know, around towards the starting gate. You know, you run it the other way off the start there. A little bit hard right there, as you see, but you know, nothing too hard. You know, that's that whoop section we talked about. Short, sweet, but tough.
Pretty big. I walked the track this morning, and you know, like you said, there's only 6 or 7 of them, but you better have your stuff together when you get into them because they're sizable. And if you drop your front in there, it could be big trouble. Yeah, it's been good. I've been watching these opening practice sessions so far. You know, these guys that haven't been on the racetrack, Jim, for 2 months. That's a long time. You know, they're all practicing at Milestone and some of their private Supercross tracks, but there's nothing really like coming to Monster Energy Supercross and taming that beast.
Yeah, and the other thing too you got to remember is, you know, it's one thing to go practicing, it's another to go racing, and you know, your adrenaline kicks in, your heart rate goes up when you're racing. You know, things like that all contribute. It's hard to duplicate those things when you're out there practicing.
It's different. Being at the races is different. Coming all the way across from the pit area over here to the stadium.
I'll tell you what, after they make that left-hander, they got that dragon back, and then they have that triple. That triple's pretty technical for these guys. They're seat hopping a lot of those sections there. You're seeing a lot of the guys having a hard time getting up and over them.
That's Chris Howell in your screen right there on his Yamaha, getting around the track very well. He's up into the 2nd spot. So Chris Howell putting down some good lap times here with about 2.5 minutes to go in Supercross 250B qualifying number 1.
Urseth, you can see, dropped it into the 50.8 now. So they're coming down. You know, they're getting around this track pretty good.
Local rider Van Martin right there on your screen. Been knocking on the door, getting his career started for a while. I know he's had some injuries, but good to see him put a good lap up there. 5th place, pretty respectable.
Yeah, Van Martin, like you said, you know, there's only a couple more of these things, and then they got to put their Supercross suspension away and get ready for the outdoors.
That's right.
Trying to look here for Van Martin. I don't see him on the points.
Yeah, I don't think he's been into a main event yet in the West Coast. Actually, I think he was injured earlier in the year, but now he's back. Got his home state race here. He's going to try to get into that main event and make some noise.
Let's go, Van. It's time to get that bike into the main event. It hasn't been in there all year. Yeah. Let's go. We only got 2 more opportunities. Oh, we got a red, one of the riders going down on that timing section there. You saw right before that the flashing red lights, everybody has to roll that section there. Who was it? Can't see.
592.
592.
I think. Yeah. Yeah, Gurley. 592, Zach Gurley. He's back up.
Bars look pretty bent, though.
Bars
I don't know if he's going to be able to finish this one out. They were pretty bent. You got about a little over 1 minute and 7 seconds left in this one. I think Zach's just going to pull it in and talk to the mechanic and, you know, go back there, and hopefully they got another set of bars for that bike. Another rider pulling in, talking to his mechanic. He's actually getting off, and
what's wrong with this thing?
I don't know.
What's wrong with this thing?
He's looking over at the chain. Maybe he's the rider and mechanic.
Chain maybe he's a little loose for him or something. Is he hearing maybe got some mud caked in there? Yeah.
Kenny Williams going to come back out onto the track now, and he's got to wait there, but I'm not so sure. He just had the mechanic hold the bike. He might have thought there was something maybe in the countershaft sprocket or something like that, and he's just kind of checking it out.
And folks, AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil delivers maximum horsepower, bulletproof wear protection, and consistent clutch feel for the confidence you need to get on it, get after it, and stay out front. AMSOIL, out front performance. Visit amsoil.com/dirt bike to learn more.
Well, a couple guys now. Ulrich into that 50.9 also. So 2 of the riders getting in there. Erstef, Ulrich.
They went back and forth pretty well there the whole qualifying session. Checkered flag is out. It's going to wrap it up for these guys. Let's talk some trivia, Jim. I like trivia. I'm a trivia guy.
You like that trivia?
You say Houston's been around for 50 years, and the Astrodome race, the first one was in 1974.
Yep.
Jim Pomeroy wins it.
Yep.
Now let's go to the last person to win in the Houston Astrodome, Ricky Carmichael.
Yeah.
And the first person to win in what is now NRG Stadium,
Chad Reed.
Chad Reed.
Yeah. A lot of stats on that. I mean, you look at it, guys that have had the most wins here with 5, Bob Hanna,
Big
Mark
names.
Barnett, and Jeremy McGrath, 5 wins. Ward, Stewart, RV with 4 wins there. I mean, those are huge numbers. I mean, to come here, and a lot of those guys, when Hanna and Barnett would win, those were those double headers. When we had Saturday night and then a Sunday afternoon race in the Astrodome over there.
Yeah, it's awesome. And Kawasaki's a big name that's been strong here in Houston. They've won 7 out of 12 here in NRG Stadium, including 3 in a row. So maybe Chad Reed. Maybe Chad Reed might have some luck tonight. He's won one of these things. People forget Chad Reed won a main event this year. He can get it done.
Atlanta.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, he's due. I mean, all these guys are due. I mean, you look at it. You look at St. Louis with Anderson finishing on the podium. He's got to step it up. He's only got 2 podiums. He's had a second. He's had a third. But he's down in the points. Cole Seeley, the rookie, had a Millsaps. When's Millsaps going to get on the podium?
Barsh
had
is
a couple
back.
Barsh is back. It'll be interesting tonight.
It's going to be awesome. We have a great show for you guys. Tonight we're going to have a brand new, on Fox Sports 1, a brand new episode of Behind the Dream with Jason Anderson, the Lobo that you just mentioned. That's going to be cool to see. Stay tuned, folks. We're going to have some commercials here. We'll be right back. And here we are back, NRG Stadium, 250A group on the practice track. Not the practice track, the racetrack. They're qualifying. These are guys who are going to be in the main event tonight. Malcolm Stewart, Cooper Webb, Tyler Bowers, Chris Aldridge, Aaron Plessinger, Zach Osborne,
Josh Hansen. I can see those boots from here.
I'm telling you, this class is deep right here. I'm excited to see these guys back. And they've put on a show every weekend. When they raced for the first 6 rounds to open up this series, these guys were going at it. We had rookies out there. There's Aaron Plessinger. Ricky Carmichael rode the Supercross graduate. He won the B class at the Monster Cup. He's got some top 5s. Maybe podiums in his future.
Yeah, he is. And I think that maybe, with that little bit of, not a little bit, a lot of that 2-month break, I look for Aaron Plessinger to be strong here tonight in Houston.
I do too. I got to talk to Cooper Webb's mechanic, and he said these guys have been hard at it. Said Cooper took 3 weeks off, actually, for that shoulder, but then since then they found some new things with the bike. They found some more horsepower. Some things that they had found for their outdoor setup actually applied to the Supercross, so they feel stronger than ever over there. Yamalube Star Racing Yamaha team.
Yeah, the only thing about it with Aaron Plessinger, though, that podium, that third, came at Anaheim 3. San Diego only gaining, 7 points, which is a 14th. I know that was the first time he's been out of that top 10. And he had some problems in San Diego. And like you said, we'll see if he can rebound back and possibly get a second. And maybe a win. You never know.
Look at our buddy Jackson Richardson there. Second fastest so far, all the way from Australia, doing it on his own.
Yeah, but look at Hill, Justin Hill, a 47.3 compared to Michelle. Now Bowers is up at a 47.7. So things are changing every lap right now.
I noticed in the first time these guys were on the track, Cooper Webb took a while before he went out and put in the heater. I don't think he's going to play the same game here. I don't think we'll see him really jump into the top 3 until the end. But when he does, I'm throwing out, I don't know how bold of a prediction this will be, but I'm thinking the number 17 is going to end up being the fastest guy. That's my call.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, we're getting a chance right now to watch Austin Politelli there,
right.
981. He's going to be our guest on the show today,
Live.
which is going to be good. Pretty nice setup he's got right now where he's following, and I'm trying to see who he's following. It looks like, you know, if you can tag on to one of these guys that are setting these fast times, that's going to help you up to see exactly where you're running. He's right behind Plessinger right now.
That's right. Find somebody fast and get behind him, put a hook in him, and check out some lines. Check out where they're at.
Well, we got the red medical flag out over the triple jump, and we talked about it. One of the guys coming up a little short there, and I'm not so sure who that is.
They're down on the double. I think they just shorted the double.
Is that Hill? No.
That's Alex Martin.
Wow.
Yeah.
From
Boy, he's
Fendersboro.
down hard, too.
Yeah. And he didn't even, it looked like, I don't know, we didn't see it, but I mean, he's not on the backside of the triple.
No,
I don't think he faced it.
Crashed on the double.
Yeah, just maybe cased the double.
He let go of the bike or something because
it's bent up pretty good.
Yes,
I guarantee he's not going to put in a good time. Well, although he's sitting 5th right now with that 48.3, I think that's about the fastest he's going to do because that bike looks pretty hammered.
That's another name that we haven't mentioned yet, Alex Martin, 3rd
Podium.
place finisher in Oakland.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was cool listening to Cooper Webb do his interview and talk about, you know, already thinking about the East-West shootout. He wants to prove that the West is best. And I don't know. Marvin Muskin is riding unbelievably well. But then I kind of forgot how fast Cooper Webb was on the West Coast. Cooper came through the pack 3 or 4 times to win those races. And with this kind of parity, you know, and that deep of a field, that's hard to do.
Well, let me tell you this. The East Coast, maybe a little bit more speed, but for sure more finesse. West Coast more aggressive, boom, bam, they'll ram you out of the way. So I don't know if the East Coast boys are going to be ready for that. You know, you got Bowers and you got Webb, you got Malcolm Stewart, you got Hansen. All these guys will move you if you're in their way.
Yes, they will.
Where the East Coast guys, they're pretty nice and gentle. They're finesse riders.
We didn't see a lot of takeouts on the East
great
Coast,
in
right.
Vegas.
How about Chris Aldridge, man? He's been a highlight reel this year for good and bad reasons, but for the good reasons, he's led laps. You know, if you look at the laps led chart, his name's on the list. He led that race in Houston for a while before eventually crashing spectacularly, but I was able to talk to Bones this morning, and he said Chris has really, really worked hard these 2 months off. He's still got the speed, but he's kept it on 2 wheels, gotten a little bit stronger, made some adjustments to the motor so it's not as hard hitting for him and stuff, but I think this kid's got a bright future. You know, he has one thing that you cannot buy and you cannot train, natural speed, baby, and he's got a ton of it.
Well, and he's sitting 17th in the points. He had that problem in Anaheim 1 where he didn't make it, but you know, you look at Anaheim 3, he only got 1 point. Oakland, he only got 1 point. Anaheim, the 3rd time we were there, 7 points. San Diego is his best finish where he picked up 11 points, which that's a 10th. So he's only had 1 top 10, and that's a 10th. So he needs to try to get into that top 5. I wouldn't put the pressure on him, you know, hey, you need to get a podium before the season's out. Hey, you had a 10th last time we're out. Let's try to get a top 7, top 6. The final one, let's try to get in that top 5, and then, yeah, maybe Vegas he could possibly, but then you bring those East Coast guys. The thing about it is,
tough.
you got 2 more. You've been a highlight reel so far. Let's not continue that highlight reel. Let's make both main events and finish 30 laps. What you have, that East-West shootout. And let's go out to the outdoors.
I agree, Jim. Hey, look at my prediction here. How's it working out? Look who jumped up to the top.
One of the riders on that timing section is we're watching Cooper Webb come by. That when you run that section backwards there, he's on the ground right about there. We'll have to see what rider that is. I can't see. Is that 85?
Yeah.
85.
Landon Powell.
Fortunate for him.
Oh, boy. Yeah, he's...
The Asterix Mobile Medical crew right on top of him. He's in good hands with those guys. But that was that coming backwards on that section where that timing section, as you heard Cooper Webb talk, yeah, it's pretty hard to figure out that timing section when you go through it for the first time on the start. And then when you come back through it the opposite way, all the rest of the remaining laps. But they're going to restack this one up. They got about 3 minutes and 19 seconds in there.
Yeah, we still got some time left to go here. We're going to keep our thoughts and prayers with Landon Powell and hope the Asterix Medical guys make sure that he's going to be as good as he can be. So let's keep our thoughts with him. So far, your top, let's go through the top 10 here. Cooper Webb, Justin Hill, Malcolm Stewart, Zach Osborne, Tyler Bowers. That's your top 5. In the 6th spot, Matt Bisceglia, followed by Josh Hansen, Shane McGrath, Austin Palatelli, and Alex Martin is your top 10. Been fast and furious here. Like I predicted, Cooper took a little bit of a while, got warmed up, and him and Justin Hill have been going back and forth. Webb nipped him there by about, what is that, 4 or 5 tenths, about a half a second. But impressed with Justin Hill. I think he broke his foot, didn't he, Jim, in San Diego?
Well, yeah, he had a foot injury there, and then he was sick, in Oakland when he was leading that one. He's been out front, but he's healthy. He's back ready to go again. But like you'd mentioned, though, Cooper Webb, I mean, they still have 3 minutes and 19 seconds to go in this practice. I wouldn't be surprised if, Malcolm Stewart jumps up there and possibly a Tyler Bowers.
Right. Or a Hansen or Osborne, I like Zach Osborne. He gets good starts. He's a hard charger, always up at the front. I'd look for Zach. He hasn't been on the podium for a while, Yeah. So maybe Osborne could be a guy that could jump up there and get a podium. Who else do you like there in that list? Aldridge, is that too far-fetched?
I like Plessinger.
Plessinger.
Yeah. So, hey, you did that great
speaking of
piece.
Aldridge, we talked
exactly.
to his boss man, Mitch Payton. Here's what he had to say.
Andy Boyer with Race Day Live, presented by AMSOIL. We're here with Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki boss man, Mitch Payton. Mitch, it's an interesting time in our sport right now. There's so many teams. It seems like it's gotten so competitive. On your end, do you feel like getting more competitive?
I think it's healthy, because there is a lot of teams, and obviously I think there's more outside money in it than there was before, which is really good. The manufacturers are all supporting the 450 teams and lights teams, and then you've got other title sponsors coming in that helps all the teams out. So I think it's more competitive. They're also, compared to the old days, maybe the kids are coming in more competitive already than instead of buying a kid and then there was always phenoms that came in and could do good right away, but then sometimes it would take a kid 4 to 5 years before they could be up to speed, and now they can be up to speed right off the bat or within a year.
Right. And you saw that with Ricky Carmichael. He was perhaps, one of the most highly touted guys you ever picked up. And, his first season didn't go so well. He had some crashes. And then he goes on to become the greatest of all time. But you're like, more to what you just said, it seems like those kids come out of Loretta Lynn's and there's more of them. How are you farming your kids now?
It's still kind of real similar. I mean, you're looking at Loretta's or you're looking at the big amateur races to see who's doing well. And I think it's more so that, like say for Ricky, for instance, he was riding all the time back then, racing every single weekend and winning all the amateur races. But, he was fortunate enough to be around, I think he practiced a lot with Ezra back then. Yeah. And I think that helped him at a young age see what those guys were doing. And then when he came in, he only won, I think he won 3 races that year, but he was certainly probably the fastest guy, but he made some mistakes and would crash and everything. And now you see these kids that there's all these farms and camps and places where these kids are riding at where they're simulating races almost on a daily basis, so they come in with a little bit more experience.
It definitely seems like it. And looking back at your door here, you got 28 championships. And you've had some characters on your teams throughout the years. Does any of those championships kind of stick out that mean more to you than the others?
I mean, all of them are great. The first ones are phenomenal because we had a team and probably a lot of people didn't think we could win or whatever, and to have a guy like McGrath and Swank and Lampson and Buell the first year, there was a great lineup of riders, and everybody was successful, and that was really a special time. And then we won some Supercross titles, and we had never won an outdoor title, and then we always wanted to win one of those, and then Ricky supplied that. Having him on the team was really, really awesome, because for us, it was like one of those things that we knew him as, he was probably the first kid that we helped on a mini bike and then came all the way through the program. And it was great to see him succeed, and then he went on to ride a 450, and then we stayed friends until he retired, and we're still friends. So that was a cool one.
That's awesome. You know, and you started winning championships in the 2-stroke era, and then you've gone, obviously we're now in the 4-strokes. A lot of talk is about how fast these bikes are, you know. Since you've gone to 4-strokes, you know, we can't tell all the secrets, but how much gains have you guys made in the last like 5 or 6 years on the 250F?
There's a lot of differences from the production version and what we race, you know, and like obviously we're constantly always looking for more, you know, and it's got to the point now where you're spreading it out to like where do we need more or do we need different, you know, like, so now we're not necessarily always looking for the max horsepower. You're trying to find you know, maybe more linear power or more bottom or more, you're just constantly moving things around, and you're trying, you know, you try everything, suspension and chassis, and you're constantly trying to improve the bike, and every manufacturer and every team's doing that, you know, like, so as it gets more competitive, you've got to get more competitive. So I think it's really healthy.
Right, and you talk about competitive, you know,
And here we're back. These guys are back rolling here. Tyler Bowers putting up some good speed so far. He's your 5th fastest qualifier.
Well, and I think he might be on a heater right now. He got out there on that restart after Landon Powell. They got him off the track, and hopefully he's going to be all right. But he looks to me like he wants to set a pace right now, and we'll see if he can jump up from that 47.7 that he laid down.
I think he will. Tyler's fast, you know, but he's been sick. He was sick after San Diego and hasn't been on the bike until pretty recently.
Said Epstein-Barr, just like Martin Davalos has got Epstein's-Barr. A few riders there. It's very hard to train when you have that.
Look at these going back and forth with that was Aldridge and Stewart playing a little cat and mouse there. Or was that actually Tyler? Let me turn around here. That was Aldridge and Stewart. That's a game Aldridge doesn't want to play with Malcolm. Malcolm's aggressive, shall we say.
Yeah, that's no.
And he's a big guy.
One of the other guys we left out for those East Coast guys to worry about moving you out of the way.
There's Tommy Hahn.
Putting in some pretty good rides this year. You know, he came out of retirement. He's running 11th in the points right now. I believe he had a top 10 when we saw him in San Diego last.
He just about missed time that wheel tap there.
He actually had a 9th on February 7th. So a good ride for Tommy Hahn.
Always been a big fan of Tommy. You know, he grew up in Kansas, I grew up in Kansas, and got to work with him a little bit when I was the rep at Fox Racing. Great family, him and Wilbur and their parents. Awesome people, but I'm just glad Tommy came back. You know, anytime these guys get injured to the point where they want to retire, it's just a bummer. But he set out for a little bit, Jim, and got the hunger, and now he's back.
Well, I think a lot of guys, you know, prematurely hang it up. You know, they kind of get in a little funk or whatever, and they just kind of go, well, you know what, maybe it's time to hang it up. They go do motocross schools and things like that. And then they realize that, hey, maybe I cut it too short. Maybe I can go a couple, 2 or 3 more years because, you know, once you quit, you've quit. That's it. You can't come back if you get too old, you know, and he's still young enough where he can come back.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to have him back. There's 3 of those guys at the beginning of the 250 West that came back. Nico, Izzy, Josh Hansen, and Tommy Hahn. And 2 of those 3 have done really well, and I think that's pretty good. You know, kudos to them. And here, Shane McGrath.
Yeah, had that first podium in San Diego, second. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he also won his heat race that night too. So anytime you see a rider, you know, win a heat race, that gives them so much confidence when they come into that main event. You saw what happened with that second place. Too. Yeah, you get number either 1 or 2, depending on if you had that fastest heat. If you had the fastest, you get 1, but if you won the other one, you're guaranteed a second spot on that gate. That's a great gate pick for him.
Major bummer about his teammate. I was pretty fired up to see Jesse Nelson here racing tonight, but rang his bell a couple weeks ago, and he's going to go ahead and sit out the next 2 rounds of Supercross and come back for the Outdoor Nationals. But good effort there by the, Lucas Oil Troy Lee Designs team.
And you got to remember that that's a whole new team for him. I mean,
that's what I was. Yeah.
They have KTM's now. They had Hondas, and for years. You know, you've talked with Chad Reed and other guys that have ridden on Hondas. You got to. You know, Dave Gowan switching from the KTM to the Huskies. They got to restock the truck their shop. They got to get some different tooling as far as tools for the mechanic, because some of the bikes that you change, you have a special tools to take off some things. So, I mean, it's a work in progress. Even when the racing season starts, these guys are still, oh man, we didn't get that on the truck, or we didn't get this. But by now, I'm sure they have everything. But, you know, like you said, Troy Lee, you know, it's great that he has a race team and he's doing so well.
Strong race team, yeah. Winning races, getting podiums. There's Politelli again. He jumped up to 8th place after that run right there. So he's at a 47.5. Going to be good to talk to him. Really good, good feel-good story there with his race for autism. His whole setup, his bike, his graphics, you know, the team hauler.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk to him about that. That's pretty cool. I know Terry Beal over there, PR guy for those guys over there, helping him out.
Good effort. It's going to be fun to talk to him. Can't wait to have Politelli on the show.
Put that thumbs up to his mechanic. You saw that? He says he probably showed him, hey, you're sitting 8th right now with a 47.5, so not bad.
And the checkered flag is out. Cooper Webb, Justin Hill, Malcolm Stewart, Josh Hansen showing some speed in 4th. Zach Osborne, that's your top 5. We'll go all the way through your top 10 here. Shane McGrath, Tyler Bowers, Austin Politelli in 8th, Deshelia in 9th, Jackson Richardson all the way from Australia. Rounding out your top 10. Justin Hill, you know, a lot of eyes were on Justin coming into the 250 West this year. Showed some amazing speed at the Monster Energy Cup on the 450. And, you know, he's just, I don't want to say he didn't deliver on the promise. He just kind of had some bad luck, got some bad starts. You know, Justin Hill was leading that race in Oakland. It looked like it was his to lose, and he went down the sand section. But he's back. He's another one of those guys here, you know, that makes this West such a deep, fast class.
Yeah, and you know, you look at a guy like that, and he got his first win of his career in Oakland, you know, Malcolm Stewart, and to come back and have problems like that, you know, that these last 2 rounds, he is really, you know, he really wants to get another win under his belt. I mean, that's all there is to it. You don't really want a podium. You just want another win.
You remember what happened at San Diego? He went down on the first lap, and Bowers lapped him, and then he jumped right in there and set the fastest lap time of the race.
Yeah.
We got a live tweet here from Brad Cabell. Why did Justin Barcia come back for the last couple Supercross rounds? Is it better to concentrate for the outdoors? That's a good question.
That's a great question. I mean, you know, some riders like to come back just to kind of get a few races under their belt. I'm sure that they're not looking at him to come back and get any wins, just to kind of, you know, get back into the flow of things. Other riders, like you said, they probably don't like to, you know, come back. They say, look, I just want to come back to the outdoors. But Justin Barcia, I talked to him earlier, and that's exactly what he said. I go, you know, why'd you come back? He goes, well, I'm healthy, but I just wanted to get a few races under my belt. And, you know, Phil Nicoletti is the fill-in rider. I didn't want him to get too comfortable as being a permanent rider at Supercross, so he wanted to come back.
I can answer that question with 2 words: unfinished business.
Yeah.
You know, Justin was, a lot of people are looking at him to really win races and contend for this championship, and it wasn't happening. You know, about the highlight of his season before he got injured was being the fastest qualifier at Anaheim 3. But he wasn't getting the starts, wasn't really, you know, Weston Pike was actually finishing better than he was.
Well, let's take a look at Dungey now. You're going to go around that right-hander.
Okay,
this is that timing section we were talking about. You don't go into that turn. You make a hard left. You go under the bridge. That's the only time you go under the bridge.
Around.
You go up and around and over. We're going to watch Dungey come up and over here. You know, they're not on a hot lap right now. Then you're going to kind of double this section. You're going to go in the stand. Here's where you got to go right. You got to make sure you go right there, okay? So you got that double there, then you got another little double. Use the step on, step off there, rhythm section. Got another right-hander. You're going to come out of that right-hander, and you're going to have a double. Then you're going to go into the whoop section here. Left-hander, you're going to come up and over the Monster Energy finish line. Notice how I'm a little ahead of them. I've already thought of this course. You got the double. Then you're going to come into that right-hander. You're going to go up and over the over and under bridge here. Then you're going to hit that double. You're going to come into the sand. But instead of going right now, you go left into a bull turn. Little dragon back thing there. Hit the 65-foot triple. Land, come around that bull turn on the right. Now you go through that timing section the opposite way that you did on the starting line.
This is Dungey's first lap here. And look at him. Killing it. I mean, did not misplace a wheel that whole first lap.
Wow, that's why he's leading the points by 80 points. And that's why he's only been off of the podium once in that opening round in 4th. Everything else has been wins and seconds and thirds. And, you know, when you have that type of confidence, you can go out there and stick that bike anywhere you want to put it.
I think it's a lot of it has to go to the bike. That brand new KTM Factory Edition machine is unbelievable, and it's made Dungey, it's revitalized his career. It's made Marvin Musquin look like a superstar on the East Coast. But in the 450s, look what it's done to Andrew Short. You know, we don't want to show favoritism here, but the KTM factory bike, wow, Tomac just destroyed that right-hander. Is a great machine, and it can't be understated how much it's done for Dungey in this championship.
Yeah, I mean, well, and he's the one that designed that bike. I mean,
him and Roger.
Him and Roger and Ian Harrison over there. Look at that. Seat hopping that triple. You know, Tomac's got nothing to lose here. All he's going to go out and try to do is just wins. He wants to try to string together for his confidence. You know, we've seen him have podiums before, then we see him crash and get a you know, a 10th or whatever and have problems the next weekend. He can never string together consistent finishes. We saw him win at Detroit, then last weekend in St. Louis had a bad start, or 2 weeks ago in St. Louis had a bad start, came up and finished second, but now it's time for him to try to string together some wins.
I agree.
As he strings together a 46.1 to be the fastest here right now.
By a mile, by 8/10, almost a full second. Again, Justin Barcia's back. He's your second fastest qualifier. So far in the early going, it's Tomac, Barcia, Reed, Dungey, and Brock Tickle. That's your top 5. Good for Tickle there. You know, he's carrying the flag for the RCH Soaring Eagle, Jimmy Johnson's organization, while his teammate Roczen is injured. Justin Brayton's back. Says he feels good. He's been able to train. Shoulder feels good. Ribs feel good. You know,
I know. In you know, 2 weeks ago when we were in St. Louis, he didn't have such a bad ride, but I'm sure he would have liked to have been a little bit higher up than where he was. And I'm trying to look where he finished up.
When he came back in Detroit.
18th though. That 18th 2 weeks ago in St. Louis. Justin Brayton was not happy with that performance, and that's another rider that's got to start consistently getting into that top 10, top 8, and possibly a 5th.
There's a guy that's been banging on some, you know, top 5s, top 10s. Josh Grant started the season really slow. And he was in kind of a tough situation. There's an excellent article written about him on Racer X, where he's like, you know, my whole career, the last 5 years, I've been hurt. I haven't raced at all. So
he's coming in right now and going to talk to Lars Larson, his mechanic there, and see what's happening. Making a change. Let's see. Just kind of, he's actually describing what it's doing on the whoops. He's saying, what do you think? You think we should do an adjustment on the rear shock? And that's exactly what they're going to do. Maybe.
Yeah, but more to the point I was making, Jim, he has to, he's got to pull the trigger now, you know, like we both like to say. He got going, he got through the rounds, he hasn't been injured. Now he's got to, you know, Supercross is almost over. Josh Grant needs to go out there and prove why he got that ride.
Well, I think he's kind of looking at the outdoors when they started out at Glen Helen. He had that first moto win there, you know, you know, over Dungey and.
Whoa! Did you see Reed just
Kenny
do that?
Roczen, yeah.
All the way over the Dragonback section, clear to the landing before the triple.
Well, he's on a hot lap right now. Let's see if everyone stays out of his way, and let's see if Reed can jump up as we see Grant with a 46.1.
Wow.
So his bike's working for him, Grant. Now it's time for his boss to see if he can step it up.
So Grant just went from the mechanics area to the top of the board. On a Kawasaki. I told you the Kawasaki's are tough here in Houston.
They're working.
7-12 and 3 in a row. Dungey ups him up. He one-ups that time by 1/10 for a 45.9, the fastest time we've seen here today.
Well, and look at it for Dungey, a 45.9. Then you got a 46.0, 46.0, 46.1, 46.3, 46.4, 46.4, 46.5, 46.5, 46.5.
The top 4 separated by 1/10.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
It is close out here.
That's awesome. Short's fast again. There's Jason Anderson jumping up into 3rd. It's Cole Seeley to the top of the board with the 45.9. How about Cole?
Could be Cole's night. I know that Joe Root and the boys back in California, they're pulling for Cole Seeley to get another podium, if not his first win of his career in that 450 class. Chad Reed just came out of the mechanics area talking to Mike Gosler, making a little change on his bike. I talked to Chad Reed after tonight's race. He's on a jet and he's flying up to the MotoGP. Him and Stretch Kessler, they're going to be at the MotoGP tomorrow, rooting on Valentino Rossi and the boys down there.
Colin Edwards?
Well, Colin's not riding, but he's just going to be hanging out there. Colin will be there for sure, but I'm sure there's a lot of Danny Pedrosa fans, Nicky Hayden fans that'll be there. And look at that. Get out of the way, Kyle Partridge. I'm on a hot lap.
Yeah, Reedy wasn't too happy about that. Gave him the old intimidator over the triple. Reed looks bouncy today, though. Looks like he's feeling it.
He looks like he's fighting out there. You can tell by when a guy goes there. He's pissed. He ripped off that tear off. He's pissed.
He wanted to have
that
a hot
Partridge
lap
got
there.
this way.
Yeah. That was a heck of a
Here he goes again, though. He seat hops that. He's going to, okay, I'll get back on. Now I got a yellow flag in front of me. He's going to, come on. Are you kidding me?
Barsha.
Come on, Barsha, what are you doing? You just get back into this thing and you're already crashing, man?
I like it, though, Jim. I like it. They're fired up about qualifying. You know, it means something to these guys.
I think that, you know, I think, you know, I'm going to talk to, Dave Prater or Todd Gendro or some of the guys. I think that we should add some points for the top qualifier. You know, let's change it up there. Let's give these guys a meaning to get up on that podium. As Anderson looks back and says, what is that? What is that fast lap time?
Look at those. That's two rookies here at the top.
Yeah, that's neat to see. Well, now Dungey goes back. He says, hey, you guys are fast, but I'm just a little bit faster. Dungey with a 45.918. Cole Seeley a 45.922. That is close.
Yeah, some serious action going on here.
I kind of feel it tonight, Andy. Yeah. I'm feeling that we're going to have a great 450 main event as well as that 250.
Back. Check that out.
I thought you were just cold.
No, man. I'm fired up.
Oh, come on. I saw you. You're cold.
These guys are fired up.
There's Seeley right there. We're getting a chance to look at him. Looking back at the guys.
Get out of my way. Eli Tomac to the top with about a minute and a half to go. Eli Tomac, Chad Reed, Andrew Short, third fastest. Davey Millsaps. Ryan Dungey's the top 5. Look how much this has jumped around here. These guys are going for it. The qualifying section has been outstanding so far here today. It'd be a big win for Cole Seeley. You know, that was a big rookie class coming in here. Jason Anderson, Dean Wilson, Blake Baggett, Cole Seeley. You know, they've been super, super impressive. The big bummer with Wilson getting hurt, but...
Well, and you mentioned Blake Baggett down there in 12th right now with a 46.5, so clearly he's got to figure out a few things here in Houston.
Got to remember, Jason Anderson won this race last year on that KTM 250, set the tone for him winning that championship. So coming off that podium finish last weekend, Anderson's a guy we might want to be thinking about in our picks maybe. I don't know.
I'm thinking about him. 2 weeks ago, I didn't pick him, and he got a third. You know, you talk about Anderson.
Tonight.
Fox Sports 1 tonight, episode 6, Behind the Dreams. It's going to be good. 7:30 to 8 o'clock, and then make sure at 8 o'clock you click over to Fox Sports 2 to see the Houston Supercross.
I'm really excited to see that Behind the Dream with Jason Anderson. He's a different guy. You know, a lot of these guys are kind of cookie cutter and stuff, but Anderson's got a cool personality, different view of things. You know, so that's going to be cool to go behind the scenes with him down there at the Baker factory and see how his rookie season has been behind the scenes. So that's going to be fun.
Harrison there, we're getting a chance to look at Harrison now going around the track.
Out here with the big boys.
That's always nice when you get a chance. You've made a couple main events.
Yeah.
You get a chance to have an opportunity to go out there and ride with these guys and see exactly, you know,
where you're at. Go run with the Wolves and see where you're at. And folks, if you want to win, MMI and AMSOIL have teamed up to give you a chance to win a replica of Kevin Windham's Honda CRF 450R Supercross bike. Go to www.kevinwindhamsbike.com for your chance to win. MMI, the official technical institute of Monster Energy Supercross. Eli Tomac is the heat here in 450 group qualifying number 1. He's going to go down and talk to Lurch momentarily. I don't know. Who would have thought who was going to come out on top of that one, Jim?
Yeah, you know, Tomac with a 204 and Reed with a 229. Seeley there with third.
That's good.
That's a 45.5.
Definitely one of the more exciting qualifying rounds we've seen all season. A lot of fire out of Reed. You know, Josh Grant in the top 5, like we were talking about. You know, I've said it once before, down to the short and curlies here in this season, and there's not a lot of time left for guys to get that podium. You know,
and a 6th, you know, 2 weeks ago for Josh Grant. We saw him with that 6, and, you know, not bad, sitting 12th in the points right now for Josh Grant, just behind Davey Millsaps there.
I think we got Tomac down on the podium here with Lurch. You know, Tomac isn't no stranger to winning these qualifying sessions. He's got speed.
And like you talked about with Josh Grant, back-to-back.
There we go.
6th.
Fourth fastest qualifier to session number 1 is going to be the Geico Honda, the number 3 of Eli Tomac. And man, what a tight group. 9 guys in that 45-second range, even down to a 22nd. I believe that was 49 seconds, so not much spread. It could be one mistake, could be the hero or zero of this story.
Exactly. It's a really fast track. You know, all the rhythms are a little bit low angle, so that's what's getting us so low on the times there. So you know, I was able to throw one in there late in the session. Had a good time early, but everyone came around too. So glad I put one in there late, and yeah, and a good start.
It looked like you guys were almost on a freight train. We saw Ryan Dungey's number pop up to the top, and then next thing you know, it was Reed was up there, Millsaps was up there, and then eventually you ended up on top. Were you guys all on that same line, just sort of pushing each other to go faster?
Yeah, I think we all just kind of found something at the end there, and that was connecting a good lap with the big quad at the end of that rhythm lane. So that's what got me to the top at least, and I saw most of the guys doing it too.
Well, congratulations. Fastest qualifier in session number 1. We got one more with the 450s, the Group B out there now. Let's give it up.
And back here in NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas, it's 450B qualifying number 1 on track right now. It's cool, Jim. We were just talking about it while Lurch was visiting with Eli. A lot of these East Coast guys have jumped on the 450, and they're coming over here to race. Keep it going.
Yeah, I think it's nice that we see Mitchell Oldenburg out there, and a couple of other guys we see.
Catanzaro.
Shannon
Audette.
Taylor.
Preston Mole.
Yep. All these guys, you know, that we've seen on the 250 on that East Coast making the change into that 450 class. Something else that's pretty cool, you got to make sure you keep watching Race Day Live because you saw Eli Tomac with that fast. Fox Sports 1 did a beautiful piece on him and his dad, Jeff Emig, out in Temecula, California, and they kind of got behind the scenes on the mountain bike, and they were pushing each other a little bit down there.
As gnarly as Eli Tomac is, people forget how gnarly John Tomac, world champion mountain biker. You know, that it doesn't get, as far as physical fitness goes, you don't get over the top of the mountain, so to speak, as much as John.
Well, and he made a lot of sacrifices, you know, growing up in Michigan and making the move out west back in the mid-'80s there. I remember when he came out and was living in the valley with Byron Friday and the guys out there and just kind of getting into the mountain bike world, and they were kind of showing him the ropes and everything. Well, he took the rope, and once he climbed to the top, he burned that rope. Nobody else climbed up after him.
That's a very cool story. Tomac, and good to see father and son teams work out, and stay together, but then kind of separate. You know, Eli went on his career, and John kind of gave him some space, and just he's there for support when he needs it. But he kind of let Eli be his own man here in Monster Energy Supercross, and that's really cool.
Well, and you know, I've always often wondered if Eli, you know, I mean, I don't know if I'd want to get in the mountain bike world always being compared to my dad. I want to blaze my own trail, and that's what Eli's doing right now. And he's still on 2 wheels. He's just got a motor.
Yeah, and he's still gnarly like the old man, you know. So I think I see some championships on the 450 machine coming Eli Tomac's way sooner than later. So going to be an interesting off-season, silly season to see where he ends up. I think it's a contract year for Eli. Been some rumors where he might make a switch there. Don't want to comment on him, but.
Well, and I think that that outdoor season is going to be a great one. You know, you got the defending champion, Kenny Roczen, come back. You got the 2015 champion. I mean, I'm already crowning him the champion, but, you know, Dungey. And then you got Eli Tomac wanting to say, hey, man, don't forget about me in the outdoors, and all the other guys. Weston Pike,
Chad Reed,
Josh Grant. Yeah, it's going to be a great outdoor championship fight.
It's going to be spectacular. Can't wait to see it. And with about 6 minutes to go here in 450B qualifying number 1, it's Mitchell Oldenburg. I kind of had a feeling he'd be the heat here. He's got some serious talent.
Well, look at Gannon Audette behind him. We normally see Gannon Audette on that East Coast. It's nice to see him on a 450 on the West Coast there. Tevin Tapia there. Tevin Tapia doing well. We're all, and Preston Mull up there in the 6. AJ Catanzaro into that 7. Raper there, a couple other guys. Teddy Parks, I want to welcome back Teddy Parks.
Oh boy, Catanzaro jumps up to the top.
49.5 for him.
He's made a main event early in the season when everybody was still fresh. I think that's a guy that might be more tailor fit for the 450 class, AJ. He's a big kid, some guys just get along better with the bigger machine than others.
Yeah, and I thought it was nice that we saw him out west on that 450, you know, getting prepared for that East Coast.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to look down here and see what his finishes were.
And of course, Catanzaro kept himself in the news there, got his practice bike stolen in Atlanta, and then used social media to find it back. Ended up getting it back. So pretty cool story there for AJ the Cat, as Steve Mathis likes to call it.
He got 1 point in Phoenix. That's where he made that main event at. Phoenix out there.
Yeah. Well, 5 minutes to go. It's still Oldenburg up front. Gannon Audette, Catanzaro, Tevin Tapia, and Archer. That's your top 5.
And not too far off the pace, you know, with that 48.3. You talk about the other guys, you know, Tomac and all those guys, 45s. You know, you're about 3 seconds off of the pace there, and hopefully they can find another second at least out there. But their main focus right now is just to get that bike into qualifying position, into the you know, the 40 fastest, and then, hey, let's try to get a start. Wow, is that Tevin Tapia? No, that's 131 out there. Came back on the track. Trying to see who that is.
McConaughey.
Yeah, McConaughey.
Yeah.
Kind of went in there, just kind of jumped in right in front of the guy. Kind of spooked me a little bit. And I'm not even right.
Yeah, well, you don't get spooked very easily either, so. Not that I've seen. Well, hey, let's talk some more trivia. Love trivia. You know, 2 things KTM hasn't done that could change tonight. 1, never won in Houston.
Not in the 450 class.
In the 450 class.
Right, because Roczen has won before the 250 here.
Yeah, Jason Anderson. The 450 class, KTM's never won, and they've never won the coveted Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship title.
Yeah, after our show, I'm going to go down to the pits and see Roger. I'm going to see if a lot of guys from Austria might have came over, pit buyer and everything, because you know, it really did start with Roger DeCoster and pit buyer kind of saying, look, we you know, if we're going to win championships, we got to hire, you know, we got to spend some money and get the guys. And they got Dungey and Roczen, and now they said, hey, we got to develop a motorcycle for these guys. So a lot of tooling changes and things like that. They've spent a lot of money, and hopefully tonight here in Houston they can, you know, become a champion at KTM.
Still, it blows my mind, Jim. You know, they've defied convention, just like our sponsor DC Shoes. It's a chromoly frame on that 450. They didn't go to the aluminum, you know.
It's all right. That steel frame works.
Yeah,
still
obviously.
works.
Right. It's the lightest bike out there, and
sometimes you know, I talked with you know, one of the MMI graduates there, Carlos Rivera. Sometimes they're even worried about it. They're even adding
weight.
Some weight, you know, adding weight, because you know, they're worried about, you know, like, hey, for instance, if you're out there and you fall over, or you're not going to fall over, but say a radiator hose busts, you still finish the race, but you lose half of the water on one side of the radiators, you might be under the weight limit. So they're a little bit, that's how close that new KTM is to, on the weight limit there. There's Gannon Audette.
Legends and Heroes sponsor guy. Really cool Legend and Heroes guy they're honoring tonight, Steve Wise, who's joining us here on Race Day Live. Can't wait to talk to him. A very cool guy. I really like Steve Wise.
Well, and you know who else Alex Moros brought out? The 1982 500cc World Champion, Brad Lackey's here. It was good. I got a chance to do an interview with him and Marty Smith. You know, Tapia down in the sand there. He's shaking his head. He'll be all right.
And folks, the AMSOIL products that put racers in the winner's circle are the same products available to you. AMSOIL makes a full line of oils, not only for your power sports toys, but also for the cars and trucks you drive. Choose AMSOIL Performance for any engine.
Kevin Tapia, that's about it for him. I think he might just be pulling it in. This
calling
track is kind of winding down here. You got about 1:30 there. He probably got some sand in places out there. He's kind of rolling around sections there. I don't think he's going to put in a hot lap. He's still straightening out his clutch levers and things like that.
Thinking more about trivia here, Jim. You know, Kawasaki, I keep bringing that up, how strong they are, 7-12, 3 in a row. But you remember back in the late 80s, there was a guy who just joined our show recently, 4 times in a row, 4 seasons in a row. This Kawasaki rider won here in Houston. He's about 5'4". Jeff Ward.
Yeah, Wardy, another guy, I was thinking a Kawasaki guy also is Ryan Villapoto.
Well,
he won a lot in a row here too.
He's won the last 3 here.
Yeah, so he's Kawasaki, you know, Houston's been good to Kawasaki. And like you said, with Wardy, a lot of those times, you know, those were some back-to-back wins. But Wardy with 4 wins here in Houston.
Yeah, I remember those cycle newses. You know, they made a big deal about that. I remember the ads. Wardy 3 in a row. Then the next year 4 in a row, and they showed in a block. You know, his ads. But back to action here.
It's
Mitchell.
interesting.
Yeah,
all those tear-offs. You see all those tear-offs when Oldenburg was going back into the mechanics area. There you see a lot of guys.
I think they
try to rip those tear-offs when you're coming around that right-hander by the mechanics there. It's pretty smooth there. You get an opportunity to kind of pull a tear off. Now he's going to
whole shot
the
device.
whole shot device. He's going to erect that whole shot device, and I'm not so sure that he's going to. He might just. I don't know what he's doing, to be honest, because you can't practice the start because that's that section where you're going down in. Now he disengaged it, so it's disengaged.
Maybe, yeah, he's like, you can't do that, man. Can't practice the start here.
Yeah, I thought he was going to do it and run down. No, don't do that. The guys are going the opposite way right now.
Checkered flag is out. 450B Group B qualifying number 1. Mitchell Oldenburg, the Heat, 47.8. He's a full second faster than AJ Catanzaro. Third quickest was Gannon Audette, followed by Archer, Dustin Pipes, rounding out your top 5.
Well, and you look at those top 3, all 3 of those guys are East Coast guys on that 250 class.
They've been on the bike and getting some seat time in Supercross. It's obviously paid off.
Yeah, Preston Mole also a 6th. He made that main event. Made that main event 2 weeks ago in St. Louis. Remember, I was talking to him on the track arc and said, hey, man, I've had a lot of bad luck, but I'm going to make the main event tonight, and he did, and it's good to see him here on a 450 for Preston Mole.
Great to see those guys, you know, and I like to see him practicing the whole shot device because
look at our guest, Adam McNabb, with the fans out there getting some photos.
Seven
big
Deuce
cat.
Deuce.
He's a big cat, that's for sure.
Yeah. You know, that's what you guys can't see where we're watching Adam Minticknap right now, and he's just got a mob of fans around him. Always takes time to sign autographs and talk to him. You won't find a guy that's more energetic or more positive than Adam Minticknap. So that's why we're excited to have him back on the show here. We're subtly trying to make some hints to get him over here and get on the headset. So he's going to come join us here real quick. But far,
there's one of your old compadres,
Dennis Hawthorne.
Dennis Hawthorne and his mechanic there, Arena Cross champion there. Big D started it, you know, for you guys in that Arena Cross series.
Arena Cross Outdoor Nationals. You raced Dennis Hawthorne on a local Texas track here, and you had to look at the back of his jersey. He was super, super fast. We're going to have some exciting guests coming up, folks. Adam Minticknap's coming up. Stay tuned. Joining us, Adam Minticknap, the People's Champion. What's up, man?
What's up, guys? Good to see you. Good to see you.
I want to say thanks again for helping us out with the whole shot device.
And
you
know it. I appreciate it.
That was pretty
guys
cool.
For letting me do that. That was awesome. I appreciate the privilege.
But now you can see the difference between when it's erected and back when I had to ride. You know, we didn't have that thing.
Yeah.
You had to hang on to that motorcycle.
It's so much harder, and with the horsepower of these 450s, man, it's crazy. You have to have the whole shot device.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this: you're getting an opportunity, and I want the fans out there to know, for you, how important it is to be in that A group practice. What are you learning from that practice?
Honestly, it's probably one of the biggest things, one of the biggest advantages, because you have guys that are so fast, and you can really, really learn from those guys. Like when you're following Dungey and Pike and Chad Reed, those guys are going so fast in spots where you're like, wow, okay, here's this line where Chad Reed's at, and he kind of did a jump tire tap. Where in the B practice, you're I'm one of the faster guys, so I don't really get a chance to see what anybody else is doing. I have to kind of create it from my own self, and it's a lot easier when you have a Weston Pike or a Dungey to show you, be like, Adam, check this out. It's you know what I mean? They're right in front of you. You kind of follow them, and you go through the motion, and you pick up that much more speed each lap. You know, so it really does help. And the track, people don't know. When you have 20 of the fastest 450 riders on that track, that track's getting beat. It's getting eat up, and when you're in that B practice, you get what the A group left for you. Yeah. So you have a worse track plus slower guys, so it's kind of just a pile of things that are against you. So when you're in that A group, not only do you have the fast guys, but you also have a better track, so it works out in that way also.
Well, Adam, you just came off the track. We've been talking about the track since we went live here. It's crazy. You're going that way. You finish your first lap. You come back. Tell us what it's like. What's the first-person perspective of going around a lap here in Houston?
It's actually it's pretty confusing, but I got it dialed now. The start's going to be a little bit different, but You know, Andy, I didn't even get off the track. My bike blew up in first pre-practice.
So
I'm getting that fixed up. We got a motor swap going on, but yeah, that start's going to be definitely a little tricky. I'm interested to see what's going to happen if a guy goes down or something like that. Hopefully, you know what I mean. Nobody ever wants that, but if it does happen, I'm interested to see what goes down. But the track's really good. There's new dirt here. It's not as good as the old Houston. I got informed that the monster trucks left too much rubbish in the dirt for the bulls, so that's kind of a bummer. But the dirt's still good, and they did a really great job. And the track's fast, and it's actually on the easier side this week. So I'm having a lot of fun riding this track.
How about that sand though? That sand looks pretty deep, and it snakes through. I mean, it's pretty hard.
It's not as peaky this week, but man, does that sand make it tough. You're kind of all over the place. It's really, really deep sand. It's some of the sands that we had this year, and like the Anaheims are kind of a harder sand where they stick. With this stuff, man, the ruts are already, you know what I mean, 6 to 9 inches deep in the sand section, and it's really grabbing you by the feet and pulling you off. So you got to be on your toes, and you got to be on the gas, and you're getting squirrely no matter what. So you kind of hold her wicked and hope for the best, you know.
Well, speaking of, hoping for the best, you've been doing good, man. Getting in the main event.
Yeah, I've been doing really good these last couple rounds, man. Just getting my program to the next level, putting in those practice times, starting the day off right early, you know, getting in that A practice. And I think that's just been trickling down week after week, and it's been getting better and better. And like you said, this track's really different this week, and I really like it. I enjoy riding the track, and I got to do a little bit of press day this week, which was cool. It's always an advantage to do that, and a privilege. But, yeah, for the most part, the track's really fun. There's a little tricky section. I don't know if you guys get to see it or not. You're coming across the starting gate, and it's a double to a triple onto the tabletop.
Yeah.
That's a really tricky section for you folks at home. It's turning all at the same time. So when we have to huck off that thing, you're kind of at an angle. And you're at an angle, and it's hard to catch the sidewall of that rear tire and really get onto that tabletop clean every lap. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Not only that, but the track's really one line right there.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. But the sand section, man, that's a good passing spot.
Well, you can see the sand section right there on our Kawasaki track map there. And like you said, there's a lot of lefts and rights. And But I think the Feld track crew doing a great job when you run down into that first turn. They got, you know, the Monster Energy barriers there directing you on that on the right path that first lap.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But I think there's going to be a lot of good passing spots on this track too, though. Like you said, they did change that up. I think it was going to go reverse, and now it doesn't, right?
Right.
So that's kind of cool. They cut part of the track off to make it's a little bit different than it actually was on the track map, but that's all right. But the whoop section before the finish line, I think that's going to be a critical passing spot.
Yeah,
it's
going to be hard. Not very long, but big.
Yeah, they're big whoops, but we're coming into a left-hander that's 180 degrees where you can catch some speed. So look for some really good passes there tonight. And I think also in the sand section, there's going to be some good passes.
When you talk about the sand, it's got to be hard for the
little
KTM
guys.
Junior Supercross Challenge guys.
I don't even
right
know
now.
how those little dudes are making it. Look at them go through the whoops, man. That's so
just
cool.
wide open. Yeah.
They're having such a good time, bro.
Well, speaking of a good time, you know, how was your Easter break last weekend, man? Did you enjoy your time off?
Yeah, I did. I started to ride some outdoors, so that was really fun. It's good to have a change of pace, but you know, go home, hang out with the mom and dad, and have a little family get together, have a little Easter egg hunt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's
good
always
good.
good.
To hear, man.
It's always good to have a little break.
That's up in Lompoc, right?
Yeah, Lompoc, California.
Home of Sean Wynn. I remember Sean Wynn when he used to ride up there.
Yep.
And speaking of family, we got a question here. You want to go ahead and read it, Adam? It's for you.
Yeah, Supercross Live. Oh, wait a minute. Where did Adam Enticknap get his taste in music from? If he doesn't say his big sister, he's lying.
There you go.
No,
Sierra.
That's my older sister. Yeah, no, I do love music, and I do a little bit of rapping, which is
that's your sister,
fun.
right? You don't mind if I say she's hot? She's hot right there, man. Look, I'm gonna get them all
goodness.
embarrassed on the show.
No, the Enticknap family, we're a good-looking family by all means. But yeah, no, I do love doing my rap music as a hobby, which is a fun thing I do in the pastime. It kind of gets me through it. You know, I rap about riding dirt bikes, and I have a good time.
I think we have a clip of that.
We do have a clip of that. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah,
just the music we're gonna hear.
Yeah.
But you'll know.
We can't imagine what the video would be like.
Oh man, you can only imagine. It's gonna be the best.
What's up?
You know it's gonna be the best.
This one for the crew. This one for the crew.
Lurking low, yes, we stay low key. We gone, you can't see. Still, you do know me. You know me. Lurking low, yes, the whole damn team. We gon' reign supreme until we are the dream. We the dream. Lurking low, yes, we stay low key. We gone, you can't see. Still, you do know me. You know me. Lurking low, yes, the whole damn team. We gon' reign supreme until we are the dream. We the dream. Don't trip. It's a way of life, it's different. You don't twist, we can in. Yo, in the back, we in the front. You last place and we the one. What's up?
Maybe something's wrong with your headset. We heard it.
It is. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. I listen to it all the time. I made it.
Okay.
I know how it is. You know what I mean?
So what happened to the Steed? We got bike problems?
Yeah. No, it's a bummer. In free practice, my bike locked up. I can't even believe it. I was so bummed.
But how much time would be on that bike? I mean, for the people listening in, I mean, when are you changing out motors? You're a privateer. You got a spare motor?
Honestly, that's probably my bad. There's too many hours on that thing.
And what's too many hours? I mean, you're running 30, 40?
No, probably about 40 to 50 hours.
Ooh, that's a lot of hours.
Yeah, no, it's a lot
of
hours.
You're a big boy, man. That motor's working hard in the sand and everything,
Jim, you know I hold it with.
I know it.
You know I hold it with.
So now what about a spare motor? Do you travel around with a spare motor?
Yeah, I fortunately enough, I have a spare motor on the rig. So we're going to be able to throw that bad boy in. I got some guys working on it back.
Who's helping you, bro? I mean, you do most of the stuff. I'm seeing it by yourself.
I do most of the stuff, bro. But I got some random dudes helping me right now. I got this kid Shane and John helping me right now, so that's cool. I got them back at the pit, kind of doing it up, changing a bunch of parts over. You know what I mean? You know how it goes.
Yeah,
you got to yank the whole motor out.
I was thinking if you're a privateer, maybe you just go over to the factory Honda and talk to Dan Bentley and say, "Hey, man, Trey's not riding. Can I borrow that bike?
I know, right?
Can you hook a guy up?
I know, right? Wouldn't that be cool? No. Those guys at Honda, man, they help me out so much. Honda's been so gracious to me. They help me out with all the parts that I need, anything I need with help. Honda's just been a huge part of my program. Without them this year, you know what I mean, some of the things I wouldn't have been able to make it through. They give me spare chains and shifters and clutch levers and kind of whatever I need. You know what I mean? It's really hard to give a motor or a bike out, you know what I mean, because it is a Honda bike, which I'm sure if they could, they would. But sometimes
parts,
you just
though. That's what you need,
exactly.
stuff like that.
They hook me up with parts, which is absolutely amazing for my program. You know, so that's cool of them.
Let me ask you this: are you one of those riders when you talk about the guys helping you out? Who are the two guys, the gentlemen that were helping you out? Shane, and you said?
Shane and John.
Yeah, Shane and John. After this interview, you go back. Do you ask them, hey?
You check out a
couple
things.
You got that you got that connection tight. You got the radiator. You put water in the radiator.
Trust me, that's me. I'm like over there. I'll probably nut and bolt the whole bike before I go out on the track. That's me. I work on all my stuff every time.
Drag it back right there, man.
Yeah, I gotta go tire tap that thing. Did you see that?
Did you see Reed jump the whole thing?
Oh my goodness.
He never even tire tapped it. He cleared the whole thing. That's what.
Okay.
Yeah, there's another
all
thing
right, I'm on for
you.
that one.
Yeah.
I got it. We'll handle it. 7 Deuce is gonna just jump it, I guess. The whole thing? Really? Which side did he do it on?
From the outside. He just seat bounced it and got all the way over it. He was on a heater. And
I bet that was quick.
Yeah.
It looked quick.
Wow.
Quick.
That's awesome.
Then Partridge got in his way and he pulled a tear off.
Yeah, he was mad.
Furious
Partridge got in his way.
I bet. The track's really fun though, guys. They sprinkled a bit of sand in the whole rhythm section, so it's really, really good. Yeah. It's awesome. So the dirt's a little bit where they didn't sprinkle sand, it's not so good this year. Houston, I look forward to coming. I look forward to coming to Houston every year because the dirt is absolutely amazing. But Dirt Works, man, they just do such a great job with the tracks.
That's what I'm talking about. They're making an effort, you know. And people say these tracks are cookie cutters. There's never anything different. Well, look,
it's different now.
No, some of the people, you know what I mean. All due respect to all those people, and they, you know what I mean. Everybody has their opinion, but these tracks are amazing. They're huge tracks. You got to realize that these guys are building these tracks in 2 days. They're laying, you know what I mean, stuff across the ground, and then they're building it from the ground up, and they're doing it with this dirt that you can barely mold. I mean, this Dallas or this Houston dirt that they got is like clay pudding, you know what I mean? So you can't back drag it at all. So wherever you put the dirt, it's going to stay. So they did an amazing job, and the transitions are amazing this weekend, and the whole layout of the track is super, super fun. I've been having a great time on the track.
Good, man. Like to hear all the positive energy. I think we're going to go down here to the podium and hear from the KTM Junior guys. We're not sure, but they've been out there tearing it up. Looks like we got a McGrath. Let him around there. That's pretty good pedigree. Number 4 and McGrath. So
I'm sure the guy running number 5, he's going to be happy with that number that he got to pick. You know, he looks like a miniature
little
Ryan
Dungey
out there.
There you go. Yeah. You got the McGrath out front, though, man. Oh, dude.
Brings
he's
back the
ripping.
days, doesn't it?
It's bringing back the days. That's why I started racing dirt bikes. Is my dad brought me to the Coliseum, and I seen McGrath win, and I was like, dude, Dad, that's all I want to do, bro.
But look how fast they are, McGrath. A 105. I mean,
Dude.
you guys are turning 48s. I mean, he's not that far off of the pace.
Somehow those guys are 25 seconds faster than everybody else, though, so they might have had a little bit of creative
lines out there, you think? Maybe?
I just noticed that the top two guys are 24 seconds faster.
Then you go 29 there.
That's a little much. They must be really ripping out there. They must be tire tapping the dragon's back.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or,
or just jumping the whole thing, huh?
Or your buddies gave him your engine. Your buddies might have gave him your engine.
That's what it is. They got a 450 in that thing, dude.
Hey, say hi to some of your fans out there on the big screen here in NRG
What
Stadium.
up?
Yeah, you got to wave this way, boys.
Wave at the camera so they
what
can
up?
see it.
7 deuce deuce.
And if you're just tuning in or walking into the stadium here at NRG Stadium, this is Adam Intick-Knapp, the People's Champion, one of the most hard-charging privateers we have on the tour. Been with us the whole way through 14 rounds. Now he's getting into some main events and going through some adversity so far here today. Had an engine lock up. We were just talking about that. And he has some strangers putting his bike together, so he might have to go back. And,
I wouldn't say strangers, but I got some good guys putting my bike together. No, they're not exactly certified mechanics.
Okay.
Well, let's clarify. They're not graduates.
They're not graduates from MMI.
Okay, all right.
But they're good guys, and they know how to work on bikes, and I'm happy to have them behind me, and we're getting that bike ready to go for that last practice.
Right. And since we are on the Jumbotron now, the folks that are sitting in here, the thousands of people that are pouring in, tell them again about the track. Tell them again about how tacky that dirt is.
Man, that dirt, it really is good. It's so sticky. That edge of the tire is just hooking up like you wouldn't believe. The track's rutting up really nice, and like we were talking about earlier, man, that sand is so deep. I mean, it's like 8 to 9 inches deep. There's ruts all the way across, and jumping into that thing, as you guys can see, is we're tripling into it and then tripling again, and it's getting really sketchy right there. The dirt is it's so sloppy. We're sideways all the way through it.
Well, and talk to some of the fans here. Something unique that we haven't seen in the history of Supercross. You got that first turn. It's a right-hander. You run down through that timing section, and then you grunt backwards the rest of the race.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really interesting, actually. I think one of the big things that you guys need to look for is what the guys are going to do in that first rhythm section. We only get to pass it one time backwards, and that's going to be really a part where you can stretch that start. So look for the top 3 guys to maybe throw a triple in there, or even maybe a tire tap or something to get away. That's going to be a really key factor in that first section, is to get that little gap, because you're going into a left and then a right. So if you got a guy on the outside coming under the tunnel, you might hit that right turn. He might be right there. So you want to definitely work on getting a double, triple, maybe another triple in there. I'm not sure how many bumps are in that section, but that's going to be
You better
key.
figure it out quick.
Exactly. You better figure it out quick.
We know you got a lot of stuff to do. Thank you for joining us on Race Day Live
Andy.
again, and all
thanks,
your
Jim.
luck
I
tonight.
appreciate it. All to you fans out there, have a good night. Thank you.
Good luck tonight. We sat down with Daniel Blair. Actually, Jim sat down with Daniel Blair from the Amsoil Arena Cross Series, and they had this interview. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
What's up? I'm David Millsaps with Monster Energy Kawasaki, and you're watching Race Day Live.
That's right. You heard it from Davey Millsaps. We're back here in NRG Stadium. Round 14, Jim. 4 rounds to go. The championship could be decided tonight. Cooper Webb, Ryan Dungey, can they get it done?
I think so. I mean, you look at Ryan Dungey with an 80-point lead here. All he's got to do is basically, finish third. If Tomac wins, they're going to have 75-point lead with 3 rounds to go. On the other side of it, you got Webb looking for his first championship, something new for him. He's never won an AMA championship, and he's got a 32-point lead on Tyler Bowers and a 30-point lead on Jesse Nelson. But Jesse Nelson not being here, so if he can, have 7 points on Bowers, and he's going to wrap it up before we head to Santa Clara next weekend in San Francisco area.
That's big stuff for the Yamaha Star Lube Racing Yamaha rider, who gets his first win of his career this year, and he's well on his way to getting his first championship. There's another championship that's heating up right now, though, the race to the championship in the Amsoil Arena Cross Series, and Jim sat down with Daniel Blair, and here's what they had to talk about.
Well, welcome Daniel Blair to Race Day Live. It's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to be on. How's it going?
It's going good. I mean, round 14 here in the NRG Stadium here in Houston, but you guys are in Spokane, Washington for the AMSOIL Arena Cross, and it's the run to the finish. I mean, you got 4 more on that West Coast. You got Tacoma next weekend, then Fresno, and then Las Vegas that final May 1st. I'm coming out to watch you at the South Point to watch you compete, Daniel.
That'll be awesome. Yeah, everyone should come out and check it out. If you're in town for the Vegas Supercross, come out Friday and watch the Arena Cross. This season's been it's been awesome. I mean, probably one of the most competitive seasons we've had that I've ever seen. And I think it's going to come down to the wire. So Friday night at South Point, I think we'll be crowning a champion.
Well, talk about your season, Daniel. I think you have a little bit of an unfair advantage. You're leading the points there in the Arena Cross Lights class. You're still running the number 125 on a KTM, but you're also doing the Fox Sports 1 broadcast. Do you have an advantage?
Yeah, I do. I mean, my biggest advantage, I think, is my old age. I'm racing against a lot of youngsters, but you know, me and Dave Ginolfi, we're about 32 years old now, and taking advantage of some of the kids in the Lights class. He already wrapped up the East Coast Championship, and I'm trying to wrap up the West. But that was our goal coming in. We both said, hey, let's win the championships, and then we'll run the ones in Vegas, and we'll go at it at South Point. So yeah, I'm excited. It's been fun. I've had probably the most fun year I've ever had racing, and then of course being part of the TV commentating has been awesome. I mean, it's been such a great experience and such a privilege to be a part of the team, and then being such an exciting race season makes it that much easier because it's been so easy to call. So it's been a busy season, but definitely the most fun I've had ever racing and in the sport.
You talk about the season. I mean, the Arena Cross class, there's 6 guys, 11 points separating them. I mean, you know, Kyle Regal's got the lead right now, but it's only by a few. Are you surprised at, you know, the way those guys are performing in the Arena Cross class? And I'm talking about Kyle Regal and Matt Gerke and Chris Blows. I know you've raced Chris Blows before, and then Bobby Canary.
You know, actually, I'm not surprised when I saw the teams that were coming in this year, and I saw all the riders, and I mean, a lot of these guys are coming from Supercross, and I saw that list. I went, man, this thing's going to go to the end because, I mean, there's, like you said, there's about 6 guys that I would say are evenly matched, and we've seen that all year. If you look at the race win totals, I mean, it's been like these 6 guys have won equally 5 or 6 or 7 main. I mean, it's been so even all year, and it's going to come down to the wire just because no guy can really separate themselves. We've had guys like Chris Blows. He dominated in Nashville, and then the next weekend, I'm not sure what he did, but it was someone else. It's just been someone new every weekend, and they're just shuffling. So if someone wants to win this championship, they're going to have to put 2 or 3 good nights together because as of now, it's someone new every time. But when you're dealing with a field that's this deep, that's what you're going to get, and that's why Arena Cross has been so good this year. I mean, every night has been exciting. There's never been one boring night, and it's because it's so deep.
Yeah, I got a chance to watch some of the Fox Sports 1 broadcast. You're doing a great job there, but like you said, it's very hard. A lot of inconsistencies. You'll see guys dominate, and then the next week they're finishing 8th and 9th. But, hey, I know you got to try and wrap up a championship on that West Coast. I know you're busy. I got to let you get going, though. Daniel Blair, and good luck tonight in Spokane and then in Tacoma next week and then Fresno. And then, like I said, I'll be looking forward to seeing you at South Point on May 1st there. We got to go to a commercial break, but thanks for coming on.
No problem, man. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. I miss you, Jimmy.
Hi, I'm Jenny Taft with Fox Sports 1, and you're watching Race Day Live on SupercrossLive.com.
And welcome back to NRG Stadium here in Houston, Texas. It's round 14. Got a little bit of track prep going on, Jim, and tell us what they're doing there.
Well, the Feld track crew, they do a great job, and like we talked about earlier in the show, you know, a lot of things look good on paper, and after they've ran those first sessions of time practice, some of the guys come back and say, look, we need to change this up, and
we don't like
that's exactly what they're doing. They're changing up a little bit of that section before you make that right-hander there. But I got to ask, you know, we got Ralph Shaheen on the show, but how come he didn't do Welcome Back to Race Day Live? We got Jenny Taft on there. He might be a little upset about that.
Well, not upset, but I would have.
Yeah. Yeah. See, he's Colleen, stretch. Let's get him on there. We need a promo.
I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do a promo.
The official introduction, the great Ralph Shaheen.
Hey,
Welcome
man.
to
Thanks,
Race
Andy.
Day
Good
Live.
to see you, Ralph.
Truly a pleasure, man. You know,
just the microphone.
jack of all trades, behind a
Master
microphone.
of none, right?
Well, I don't know. You're the man behind a camera, and you've been behind so many different sports. Tell us about what it's like to have so much, diversity with your career.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. Huge passion. That's another part. I really enjoy every form of motorsport out there. I'm truly a fan.
Yeah.
That energy you hear coming through the microphones during the shows is for real.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you not get excited about
Yeah.
what we get to see here later tonight, right? And it's the same thing whether I'm doing Supercross or MotoGP, which I'll be doing tomorrow, or a NASCAR race, or something like swamp buggies, because I've done that.
Yeah.
Outlaw carts, all these different forms of racing out there. What I find is that racers are racers no matter what they're competing on or in. And I enjoy that part of it. Getting to know the human side of it,
Yeah.
telling the story of who these guys are and gals, and watching how hard they go after that victory. Because whether you're running a swamp buggy down in Naples, Florida, or Formula One in Monaco, because I've done that too,
Wow.
they're all the same as far as the amount of desire they have to be the best in their sport.
Well, and something you've done, you talk about master of none. You mastered the Baja 1000. You got a win down there in the early 90s.
Second.
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 Oh, second.
It was
Right,
second.
right,
But thank
okay.
you, Jimmy.
Well,
I appreciate that.
I'm giving you a win, man. Hey,
I'll tell you.
if you were down in Baja competing, that's a win in itself, just
Yeah.
to be able to go down there and compete, and not only compete, but you finished up second. Tell me about that.
That's one of the things that's been so fantastic about doing the broadcasting. I had an opportunity through Ford and BF Goodrich to join the day racing operation as a co-driver in the Baja 1000, a Class 7 4x4. We were in a Ford Ranger back then, and it was amazing. In fact, we had the thing won. It was late into the night, and we ended up hitting a mud bog late and just sunk the thing.
In the desert.
And sunk it. And we're sitting there just waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally the second place guys came through, and they said, "We'll pull you out, but you got to follow us in." It's the only fair thing to do.
Right.
Yeah. So at least we got second and
So you had it won until the
we were
until you
literally like
submerged the
20 miles outside of the
geez.
finish. Yeah. But
That's awesome.
it's crazy, and they joke about it, saying it's like an all-day plane crash.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, you're in that thing and you are just flopping around and strapped in piece of mush, just hanging on. And the things I experienced out there were incredible. And no matter what anybody tells you about it, you just can't imagine what it's really like.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
No.
One of the wildest parts was that they would tell us that, be prepared. If you see a group of people standing off to the side,
There's something
they
there, yeah.
probably built a trap jump of some sort. And sure enough, we came flying around this corner, 100-something miles an hour. Next thing you know, there's a group of guys right there, and we're airborne like this. And I'm looking down through the window thinking, well, I guess I'm going to get to learn what cartwheeling through the Mexican desert's all about. But it just hit like that on the left front and drove through.
Well,
Got
that's the
lucky.
hardest thing. I remember Jim O'Neill. He's won numerous classes down there, and he invited me down there to come ride the 500 one year in the over 40 class. And I said, really, I don't want to do it. I go, whatever you do, just give me the slowest, nastiest section, the furthest from humanity. I just want to be out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm out. We're leading our class, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere. And all of a sudden, this donkey and this guy jumped out of the bushes and said, "Viva la Mexico!" And I'm going, "Wow, where did that guy come from?" And I'm thinking like I'm thinking, did this guy plan something out here or this and that? But totally a unique race. I mean, the Baja 1000, the 500, 250,
any of
them.
that stuff. The silt beds are crazy. You're just going through this massive fog bank of silt, and you can't see nothing. And you're at 100+ miles an hour, just blind, driving as fast as you can. The guys actually have to move out of the cloud, and you hear that motor just bog down, ooh, as you get, because it just sinks down in there. But you got to look down the road to see far ahead, and then you get back into the pack part, flat out again.
Well,
it's crazy.
You say the word again. Would you do it again?
Oh, in a heartbeat, But that's the thing. I've had the chance to drive cup cars and sprint cars and Indy cars and all these different things and race different things that I never thought I'd have the opportunity to do. Go places, meet people, become friends and colleagues with my heroes. I never thought as a kid I'd have that opportunity, and 27 years into it, still doing it.
Well, let me ask you this: 27 years of the broadcasting here, something unique here at NRG Stadium, Houston. the start line, that left-hander, you go down through that rhythm section, they go around the track, and then they come back through that section. I wonder if you talked to Jeff Emig, your partner in crime up there for Fox Sports 1, about that section.
Oh, yeah. I talked with Jeff. I talked with a lot of people. Talked to a lot of the racers. We had to look at the, you've seen in our broadcast.
There we go.
You've seen the computer version that we showed at the beginning of the show where the little arrow moves around the track. We had to watch it a couple of times just to make sure we were seeing it right. And then to find out that this is the first time in the history of Supercross that we're actually going both ways down an entire lane. Really pretty interesting.
In one lap.
In one lap, yeah. Most of the guys I've talked to have said that they think it's going to be okay. I've spent a lot of time talking with Ryan Dungey about it. Ryan felt pretty comfortable about it, thinks it's going to be pretty interesting. I like bringing different things into it. I like doing, I like it when it goes up into the stands. The Joker lanes that we've done with the Energy Cup have been unique. Anytime you can put a new twist to it, it's worth experimenting. It might not work, but it's at least worth trying. We don't know if it doesn't work.
You got to try something. It's just like when you're developing a motorcycle or a race car. If you don't try different things, you don't know if it's going to work. But something that I want to bring to attention, the U.S. Open, the MGM Grand, when Feld Motorsports used to do that, Friday night would be one way on the track, and then Saturday night would be the complete opposite. So, I mean, I think that a lot of the guys like that. It was different. It's not the same track you're going on. I think you got to think out here. I know definitely you got to think out here the first lap, because there are a couple of little sections where you just go underneath the tunnel the first lap, and when you come by the Fox Sports 1 scoreboard there, you make that right-hander, and then when you come back through that section, you got to make the left-hander. So you got to think out there tonight.
Yeah, and I like the over-unders. I always think those are interesting. I think anything we can do to make the entertainment value even better for the fans is what we have to do. I mean, ultimately, if the fans don't come out, none of us are here, right? So anything we can do to make the racing more interesting for the fans, I'm all for it. And let's try some different things and see what we get.
Well, we're talking about some different things. We have some of the biggest venues of our series coming up in East Rutherford and Las Vegas. What kind of plans do you guys have, special plans with your broadcast for those two events?
Well, East Rutherford's going to be probably the biggest of all, because we're going to be live on Big Fox for the first time ever in the history of the sport. And I think that is going to be remarkable. I can remember I did my first Supercross in '89. Remember the Coors Extra Gold series?
Gold Super Challenge.
I was on that deal in Tampa. And just to see how far the sport has come from there, when we would do them and they'd air weeks later and that sort of thing. And then we did the first one live when Speed first started doing these broadcasts. And now here we are doing all of them live. And now this year we're going to do one on Big Fox.
We even have a show for practice.
It's tremendous. So it just shows you where the sport is headed. And I think if we do this one live on Big Fox, it goes well. Who knows? Maybe someday soon we do them all live on Big Fox, just like a NASCAR race or, the NFL.
Well, you talk about that one. It's going to be in East Rutherford, New Jersey, MetLife Stadium, April 25th. But you talk about Big Fox. What time is that show going to start? Because it's a little bit earlier than normal. I mean, a lot of people are normally sitting down after dinner and they get a chance to watch it live, but it's going to be early.
It is. 3 o'clock Eastern is when we're going to be on the air with that. So make sure you keep your eyes and ears open for that. But, it could be something, too, where I've talked about this a little bit. What if down the road we do something where, like, all the heat races and semis and LCQs are all done on, say, Fox Sports 1, and then you shift over to Big Fox later at night for, like, an action-packed hour show that would be the two main events and maybe some features or highlights in the middle of. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can do this that we still have to experiment with.
You can tell Ralph's been around a long time. He's always looking at new, innovative ways on doing things.
You have to, right? You have to try this thing out. Look, every major sport out there has evolved in one form or another. I can remember there was quite a bit of time when we didn't have a three-point line in the NBA. Got one now. Look at the NFL's talking about narrowing up the goalposts and doing all these different things to make the game different. So you have to at least look at these things.
One more question. You've traveled the world. You've been with all the major motorsports. Who's your favorite interview you've ever done with?
Most challenging is Dale Earnhardt Sr., bar none.
Awesome.
Yeah, I always laugh when everybody says, ooh, he's a tough interview. I go, no. He's not a tough interview. There's nobody tougher to interview than Dale Earnhardt Sr. was. The Intimidator loved to mess with you. I'll give you a perfect example, Jimmy, while we're talking. We were doing the Winston one year at Charlotte, a night race. I'm supposed to interview Senior, and he was a little late to the interview. And we're joking around. We're doing this thing. Now the camera is shooting us just like this one is down here, so you couldn't see past here.
Right.
And as I'm interviewing him like this, he's reached around and he's grabbed me like I've got you right here.
Right.
And he's coming up inside of me, and he's just trying to rip my innards all the way out. He's going as hard as he can up in there, and I just kept going.
Nice.
And going.
Never
and
flinched.
Going. Never
He was
flinched.
testing you.
No, and that was the whole thing with him. He loved doing these things to you to see if you were going to crack under
Right.
pressure. And if you passed,
You
you
were
were
his
good for
buddy.
the next one. You were his buddy.
Right.
And so I loved it when he would try to challenge me with that. So I've never had anybody else do that to me. So I think
That's
he
pretty
was it.
awesome. I don't know who can top that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Ralph, it's been awesome having you on the show.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. The honor
Good luck
look
tonight.
forward to
on
it.
this
Fox
side.
Sports
Yeah.
2 tonight.
That's
Yep,
right. Fox
tonight.
Sports
Then
2.
MotoGP tomorrow. I gotta
Wave
go
out
and
to
do
the
that.
crowd there.
Goodbye to
A
all
lot
your
of
fans.
people
Thanks
watching.
everybody
Yeah.
for
See you
tuning
later.
in. Thanks for watching. These guys are doing a great job.
Coming up next, we have the MMI Top Tech Mechanic, and also joining us is going to be Austin Politelli. Stay tuned.
Jim Hawley, Race Day Live, brought to you by AMSOIL. Well, Patrick Barker, Weston Pikes Mechanic, you get the MMI Top Tech Award, $1,000 from MMI. Tell me, you had to work for it today.
Yeah, definitely one of those days where you had to work for it. He put me to work in first practice. We had a crash there, and then fixed the bike up. Came back out in second practice and had another one. And but you know, he went out in the heat race and redeemed himself with a good second place finish, and then a top 5 tonight in the main. So it was all worth it.
Weston, how is Patrick as a mechanic?
Oh, he's awesome, man. He's you know, one of the best mechanics I've had. He's definitely diehard. He puts all of his effort and love into the bike and just wants the best for me. And you know, I think the whole team JGR has just been killing it. You know, we had a rough day today, but to pull off top 5 has been, you know, better for what the day has been going. And you know, I'm just looking forward to the future, getting into outdoors soon and turning it up and getting on the podium.
Patrick, I guess you're buying lunch or dinner on Monday at the shop?
Yeah, it's probably Tuesday at the shop. We'll be buying a little bit of lunch. You know, the whole team, it's not just a one-guy effort. You know, the Auto Trader, Toyota, Yamaha team, you know, Ben, the other mechanic, Mitchell, our engine guy, helped me out a lot today. We had a lot of parts to change, so they gave me a big hand.
Patrick, congratulations on the MMI AMSOIL Top Tech Award, $1,000 for you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And welcome back to NRG Stadium here in Houston, Texas. Joining us here is Austin Politelli from 5150 Energy Drink. Welcome to Race Day Live, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Good to see you, Austin.
Man, you've had a big weekend already. You're over there helping the Houston Astrodrome celebrate their 50th birthday. What was that like?
Yeah, I got here on Wednesday and yeah, did all that and did press day. Got to ride Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon, so it's been great checking everything out. I like it here, and yeah, it's awesome.
You're also racing for a very special cause for autism awareness. You know, tell us about your program. You got your own 5150 energy drink for autism awareness. Your bike, your hauler. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's Race for Autism Month, but we also support it all year long. We got the money car that comes to every round, and you can go and donate. And every 5150 can that's sold, part of the money goes towards Race for Autism. So yeah, it's been great, and it yeah, all go for a good cause. So it's
Talk
awesome.
a little bit about this picture here. Who's on your bike there?
Yeah, that was a kid that came by yesterday, and we got to go check out the track with him, and yeah, he loved it. So it was something cool to do.
That's Cutter Whitcott in there. I'm sure, you know, sitting on a factory Yamaha like that, he had to be pretty happy.
Yeah, he was pumped for sure.
That's awesome. Well, how pumped are you? This track's pretty challenging, man. We've been talking about, you know, with the riders, Adam and Knapp, and, you know, let's talk with you, Austin. How are you getting along out there? How's the track?
Yeah, it's been going good. I'm sitting 8th right now, so pretty comfortable. And looks like they changed it a little bit, but I like it. Dirt's really good. Super tacky, and yeah, it's been going good so far.
You talk about that 8th, you clocked in 47.5, the fastest, obviously Cooper Webb with a 45.6. Where can you pick up like a half a second or a second in that next time practice?
Yeah, I think just the whoops mainly. I kept messing up right there. They're getting pretty cupped out, but just mainly there, and then getting through that sand section is getting tough too with all the ruts, but yeah, just getting consistent laps. I think we'll get it done.
It's hard. You mentioned that sand section. In Supercross, we've had a lot of sand sections there, and obviously you want to set the bike up. That sand is only maybe about 10 or 15% of the track. It's not like you're running sand tires out there. So talk a little bit about how difficult it is to get traction and take care of that front end when you're going into some of those corners.
Yeah, for sure. It's difficult. This one's weird too because you come off a bridge, so you're jumping into it with ruts everywhere, and then the sand's also getting pushed into that corner. So yeah, with tire setup and stuff, it's a little bit tough, but I'm good in the sand with being taller, so I don't mind it.
Well, you look good today, man. I saw you do your heater out there. I watched your whole lap. You kind of claimed it with your mechanic. You're stoked on it. So, tell us about your team, 5150 Energy Drink, and Craig Monty over there working with you guys. Yeah, you obviously got some fans here. But how's your team over there? You having fun?
Yeah, it's been going good. We started off a little rough, but they've been sticking behind me. Worked hard over this break. I don't have an outdoor deal yet, so just been doing Supercross only, and I'm feeling good coming into this race. Got Graham Bro back with me again. He's worked on my stuff since 2009, so yeah, break's been awesome.
Yeah, the bike with the graphics there supporting autism there, it's a pretty cool graphic you're running this weekend in Houston.
Yeah, it's definitely something cool. I haven't seen too many bikes have that, so it looks different and it stands out for sure. And yeah, I don't mind it. So it's a good for a good cause. So it's cool.
Something you got going for you. You've made every main event on the West Coast. So I believe your best finish has been a 14th at one of the Anaheim rounds. You haven't broke into that top 10. Is tonight the night you're going to break into that top 10?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't been myself all season. It's been like one thing after another, but I haven't given up, and the team hasn't on me either. So I think tonight's gonna be good. I like the track a lot, and yeah, I'm pumped.
What did you do during that break? Because last time we saw you in San Diego on February 7th, Petco Park, you didn't have too good of a night there. It was okay. I believe you finished up 16th, but a long break. What have you been doing on that break?
Yeah, I took a couple days off, but then kind of got right back into it with Supercross again. A little tough. Some of the tracks are pretty blown out in California just with how hot it's been, but been just trying to ride much as possible, and yeah, just training with my my trainer Charles Dow and all those guys at Icon Sports, and yeah, just been working hard.
Well, and you can't forget your PR guy Terry Beal. I know Terry Beal's been having you run wild doing all kinds of promotional stuff.
Yeah, he's had me all over the place, but I don't mind it. It's good press, and yeah, he's had my back 100%.
Yeah, just tell him when he gets on your nerves or he's kind of pressed, you just say, settle down there, Batwings. He'll know what you're talking about.
Well, we've been talking about it all day. The West is back. We've been on the East Coast now for 7 weeks, and I kind of think you guys have a deeper field in the 250 West. I know you've been watching the East on television. What do you think? Do you think you guys have a tougher field?
I don't know. I think East is definitely tough, too, with those first few guys are going really fast, but I think West, there's a little bit more guys that can win the race, I think, but both coasts are good. I guess we'll find out in Vegas, and but yeah, I think they're both tough.
Well, and you mentioned Vegas, that East-West shootout. That's the first time you're going to have an opportunity to go against the guys on that East Coast. Are you looking forward to it? I know you want to get through Houston. You want to get a top 10. You want to carry that top 10 into next weekend, into the new stadium we're going in Santa Clara there. Yeah. And then you got a weekend off before Vegas. Are you thinking ahead that far to that East-West shootout?
Yeah, for sure. I want to just do the best I can at these last 3 rounds here tonight and then Santa Clara, and then I've always struggled a little bit at Vegas. I don't know why, but just want to get a solid finish there, and then, yeah, hopefully get something going for outdoors.
Talk about your bike. You're on the new Yamaha. They've done a lot of work with that machine, and now this year, you look through the top 15, there's a lot of blue out there, man. How good is your bike this season? Yeah,
I've been pumped on it. I rode them a little bit last year with Larry Brooks, and it's been awesome. They're fast right off the bat, and, yeah, I can't really complain about anything. I've been totally pumped on it.
Well, and you got to have a little bit of an insight there. I know Craig Monty used to be a factory mechanic at Yamaha there and working for David Villeman and stuff, so you got a little insight there. You're probably getting some help from Japan and things like that.
Yeah, he's been good working with Craig. He's been out the track with me pretty much every day that I've gone riding, and yeah, he's been around for a while, so he knows what's going on.
That's awesome. You're a pretty big guy. You been spending time on the 450 yet, or would you ride one outdoors if something came your way?
Yeah, I would prefer to do 450 outdoors with being 6'1". It definitely suits my style better. But yeah, I've rode 450 in amateur, and then I did Lake Elsinore in 2012. So yeah, I don't mind a 450.
That's awesome. Well, hey, man, we know you got to get back to practice. Thank you for coming up here and joining us.
Thank you.
Really want to give a lot of respect for the effort your team's doing with autism awareness and stuff. Really want to wish you guys good luck. Get yourself a top 10, man.
Thank you. I'll try.
We're pulling for you tonight.
Thank you.
I want to see that thumbs up after, like you did that mechanic in that last one.
That's it.
Yeah.
Still got a big show coming up. We still got Steve Wise. We have a special guest who just checked in with us from Oklahoma, number 41, Trey Canard.
What's up, guys? Trey Canard here, giving you a little update. I just got my staples out a few days ago, and been back in PT, actually back in PT the day after surgery. So we're back at it, just trying to play the waiting game and do everything we can up to this point. Want to say hello to all the fans in Houston and hope you guys are having a good day. We'll be back as soon as we can.
And welcome back to NRG Stadium here, and join us is legendary Steve Wise. Welcome to Race Day Live, brother.
It's good to be here.
Good to see you, Stevie.
Good to see you, Jimmy.
I tell you what, man, it's been a long time, but when I heard you were going to be on the show, I was like, you know, my very first motocross school that I went to, Steve Wise, 1987.
Long time ago,
You did
back
that
in the old days.
Yeah, you did that for a long time, the motocross schools.
I did. I really enjoyed it, traveling across. I've been across the world doing motocross schools. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, speaking about a lot of fun, do you remember New Orleans in 1979?
How can I forget that?
Yeah.
How can I forget that? My only Supercross win in America. I won the Canadian one, but it was before it was really AMA. But that was a great time for me. Really, really good time there in the New Orleans Superdome.
Well, and Steve, I've known you for a long time. You know, coming up when I was first starting out, you were at the top of your career. But I mean, you've won outdoor motocross races. You've won Supercross races, and then you've won the ABC Superbikers, and then you won the TT over here at the Astrodome, and then you won some road racing stuff. Came close to winning a championship.
I really did. I was really fortunate. Just things seemed to kind of fall into place after I won the Superbikers. The second year, Honda came to me, and you know, I was kind of getting wind down in my motocross career. You know, we've got to stay in tip-top shape, and I was tired of working out all the time. And they said, "Hey, you want a road race?" And I thought, "Yeah." But then the first time I got on one of those four-cylinder Honda 1100s, I went, "Whoa!" I mean, they had so much horsepower, and it was really eye-opening. But it really turned out well, and I'm real thankful how everything worked out.
But I mean, I look at it like when I see a guy like Jean-Michel Bale come over here, and then he went over. He took a kind of a page out of your playbook and went road racing over in Europe and MotoGP and stuff. I mean, you were kind of the innovator of that for guys that have ridden, you know, motocross and Supercross. That hey, we can go race on the pavement too.
Yeah, it takes a different style completely, but you know, it's amazing. A motocross rider really can adapt to a lot of things, whereas, I'm not trying to put him down or anything, but a road racer or a flat track rider really wouldn't be able to compete here. And so we as motocross riders, we have more of a feel for the motorcycle itself. But, you know, when you get on the flat track with Jay Springsteen or Scotty Parker or the new guys today, I don't even know half of the young guys, but they're amazing. I mean, they're amazing. And they really ride a great race.
Well, and you talk about that Superbikers. I remember the first year I competed. I made it to the main and stuff. I don't know, I might have finished 10th or something, but I'll never forget. I didn't know how to draft the motorcycle, and I went over to Wayne Rainey and Eddie Lawson and Bubba Schobert, you know, and they're all buddies of mine. I go, hey, man, how do you do that draft? I'm watching you guys, and I go, watch me out there, and I'd pull out a little bit too early. They go, do you need to hang in a little bit longer, Jim? I go, okay, all right, watch me this time. I hung in so long, I rear-ended the guy ahead of me and almost went down, and I come back in, and they're all just laughing at me, and I go, what happened? He goes, you hung in too long. I mean, there's a fine line, you know, when you're road racing, getting behind guys and drafting.
There really is. In the first lap of the Superbikers in 1980, I got a bad start, and we were coming down the hill, you know, running 150 miles an hour, and I overbraked it, and you know, I was like in 7th, and I almost slammed into the gate or the guardrail, and it's totally different. And sometimes being a motocrosser, we know the bumping and running into each other. You can't do that at 100 miles an hour,
right?
You know? And
no, but you can't do it on a TT at the Astrodome. I mean, you pissed off a few of those dirt track guys on block passing. They didn't know how to get in there and block pass.
They really did. That was in the Astrodome. That was an incredible time in my life. And they would go out and throw the bike sideways, and I'd come and stop. And they would go like this, and they'd mess up all their turns. So, you know, that was real fortunate. And the way it worked out, it was really, really good.
Well, and you were an innovator of that. And I was talking to Andy off camera. We got some stills coming up here, but you know, there you are.
There's a Superbike.
Carlsbad there, tucked in there. But you talk about that. But nowadays, all the guys when they ride short track and TTs, they're on 450 Hondas, and you were kind of an innovator in that. I mean, you're talking about Springsteen and all these guys on Harleys, 750 Harleys, and it's very hard to get in there and block. I mean, you can do it, but they can't do it on that Harley. And trying to get that Harley to stop, they're going, oh my God, watch out, Steve's in the way. And they just go out and they lose all kinds of momentum. And that was a great win. I remember that. I was so pumped for you to win that thing. I'm going, nice, man, a motocross guy. Because I kind of grew up in that area with John Haley, Eddie Mulder, and dirt track and stuff. And I was just happy to see a motocrosser go out there and win the opener at the Astrodome.
That was an amazing time in my life. And, of course, I did really good in Daytona that year. My first year, I think I got 7th in the main event. And I was leading the Grand National Point Championship. And then Gene Romero, who was the head of the flat track division.
There it is. My dad was there.
Yeah.
I told him you were going to be on the show, and he remembered the crowd and how loud they were as you were passing those guys and block passing them and stuff.
Wow.
It was an amazing moment right there.
That really, really was. And They wanted me to ride the half mile of miles, but I just didn't want to do it. I look back now and I wish I would have, but you know how hindsight is.
Well, you did everything else.
Well, them carburetors stuck out on those Hondas and those Harleys. You had to ride them bow-legged to get around the miles and half miles.
That was a great time, though, there at the Astrodome. And, you know, meeting those guys, too, it's really kind of neat how I've been able to run into some of those guys and talk to them about things and, you know, so forth in the career. And just seeing what's going on with Supercross, it's amazing. You know, there's my dad, and that's the Superbikers in 1981.
Man, I think your dad, we were looking at some of these pictures, and I thought that was Roger DeCoster. He resembles Roger DeCoster a little bit.
Well, if you'd have heard my message today, I wish I would have listened to Roger DeCoster. But I kind of was a little young man and thought I knew everything already. But yeah, that was really a wonderful time in Carlsbad, and I'll never forget that. I have that on my wall, of course, and that was a great day. Great day.
We got a couple other photos we'll have to put up there. One, Andy was at my house, and I have one of your first motorcycles, the Honda XR75, 1973 model. I have it in my living room. And did you take out number 34 there? Did you run it into him a little deep?
Actually, that's my cousin.
Oh, okay, well.
His name is Richard Lynn. He's probably watching right now. That's him at a local event. We were teammates, and we'd travel to the races together at local events. And he was a hot young mini bike rider back then, so I taught him everything he knew.
And how about the Penton here?
That's me on a Penton with a blue tank. You know, when I was inducted into the AMA Hall of Fame, it's a really neat story. John Penton was in the audience.
Oh, nice.
You know, the old man that developed that bike. And well, my dad had a Honda shop back in the day, and so I was riding, you know, XL 125 Hondas, 4-strokes, trying to compete against, well, that's one of my claim to fame photos right there.
So awesome.
But anyway, when the Pentons came in, it was great, and I got to talk about that story to John Penton. It was really good. That bike was incredible.
480, right?
Oh, that was a 500, actually.
Oh, man.
That was an RC 500, and that bike would
That was
fly.
a works bike.
It was a works bike, and
then.
they flew in a special cylinder and pipe for that event, and that bike ran 150 miles an hour, man.
I thought I heard you say that earlier, 150 miles an hour.
There's the LA Coliseum.
Awesome.
Hairstyle.
Another factory
Who's
Honda.
that behind you? That looks like maybe Glover or Howerton or
that's
something.
Smitty on
Marty
Suzuki,
Smith,
number 11. Yeah,
Marty Smith.
1980. Yeah, that's a.
That was always neat to go up the peristyle and down the peristyle.
Really
that was where it all started back in 1972. I remember Marty Tripes. I was a little kid and got a chance to watch him go down there. I said, you know what? That's what I want to do for a living. I want to race motorcycles.
During that time, my dad and I, this is a crazy story. We were in LA on a vacation. We took my pit and his pit, and we were trail riding. We go down the freeway, we see a big sign, first ever Super Bowl of motocross.
What's this?
And we were at that event too. And then I'm a great friend with Marty Tripes. We talk all the time, and everything's. It's kind of wild how life is. It comes around a circle and meeting people and keeping contact. It's really wonderful.
But you're still here. You're still coming to the Supercross races. You briefly touched on it just a while ago. What do you think about the state of the sport right now? We're on live television. We have a practice and qualifying show that we're on right now. Are you impressed? Is it where you thought it would be?
It's awesome. It's awesome just to see how things have grown and the riders. I'm really impressed with the young men in our sport. Just solid, good folk, good people, and you know, it's just really neat coming down and seeing all this. Of course, wish we would have been back then. They're making a lot more money than we made.
But you paved the way. I mean, I saw Brad Lackey down there earlier today, and you know, I introduced him to some of the younger riders. I said, look, you need to thank this man because this is the man here is where it all started, you know, for the American riders. But something else that you're getting an award tonight from the legends and the heroes, Alex Morris and stuff. You're being honored here about 6 o'clock tonight local time.
Yeah, I am. I'm really thankful for that. I'm really honored to be in the group of people that would call themselves legends or heroes, so they're calling me that, and it's just a great honor, and to be here, part of this, the whole thing is awesome.
I'm going to try to get down there because I remember when Alex honored me for that in Dallas, and you were there, and they have one of your old motorcycles and stuff. It's pretty cool, but yeah, I mean, Alex is just I mean, what he does for the sport, a lot of people don't realize. You know, he is preserving the sport of motocross and supercross.
Yes.
At the races here.
Love their setup down there. It's really cool. You know, just have you done the walkthrough with their motorhome and stuff? And
well, there he is right there.
Yeah.
And the vintage, you know, the way vintage has really grown in America as well. And next weekend is the biggest vintage event in the world. And I'll be there and holding a church service as well and meeting all the people and talking. It's just a blast, just being around vintage people and people that love motocross and good people. Just a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
You going to ride next week too?
You know, Jim, I rode.
I saw some injury. I saw you limping around up to the stage. I'm wondering if he's still riding or not. You know,
We're
Alex
some
Morris
commentary
is
over
laughing
here.
over there.
No, he's laughing. No, I rode in 2011. But I need to take Wise off the back of my jersey because I'm so slow now. The guys come and slam into me. I passed Steve Wise. I'm going, hey, I'm old man. Take it easy. Man.
Jim rides in a sweatshirt now for that very reason.
You don't want to put your name on there. But, you know, I would like to ride, but I just need to watch my body a little better. And I like playing golf and flying airplanes and, you know, doing that. So it's what I do now.
Well, go ahead and talk about your message that you do. You know, you did the service this morning, and for 20 years, you know, you've been doing more than that for a long time.
1981, I believe, right?
Well, in 1981, I had a major transition in my life, and Christ came into my life and really changed me. And then I kind of started ministry at local events here and there. And the wild thing was, I remember we went to war in 1992, and C. Altman, who used to run the Supercross, called me out of the blue. And he said, Steve, I want you to come to the Houston Supercross, and I want you to go down and pray for our troops and pray for everything. So that's kind of when it started a little bit.
Right.
And then in 95, I went to all the Supercross events and held services. But, you know, my kids were growing up, and I wanted to be their soccer coach. I wanted to be there for them. So I gave it over to Steve Hudson in the end of 95. Yeah. And he's been there for 20 years. It's been incredible.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first race he's missed. I think. I don't know. But he called me last week and asked me to do it, and I said, sure. So I think I'm going to be filling in for him a little bit more. And I really enjoy coming back and being part of that, and people could go to stevewise.com and check out what I'm doing. And if you wanted to get involved in my ministry or get my newsletter, so forth, that's really what I'm doing. So I'm really happy to be here and bringing back what God did in my heart and bringing the message of Jesus Christ to the motocross racing world. And it's neat to see. So over all the local events and everything, there's so many ministries now have popped up all over, and of course in all kind of sport. People are really finding out religion isn't a bunch of rules and regulations. It's a loving relationship with our Creator. So that's really my message.
That's awesome. Well, hey, you've been such a positive person. 30 years ago, I went to my first motocross school and met you. You made me a better motocross racer. So the honor's all on this side. Thank you, Steve Wise, for joining us here on Race Day Live.
As always, buddy. Nice to see you.
Thank you guys for having me.
We still got a big show coming up. We have the 250A and 450A qualifying twos coming up. But for right now, we got the Toyota Tailgate Talk. Stay tuned. Andy Boyer with Race Day Live, and that's this week's Toyota Tailgate Talk. We're here with Christy Brocious. What a great program you guys have going on here for the kids. Tell us how these guys get to be able to ride these bikes.
So we have about 400 applicants that apply through the country over the course of the year. Each round we select 15 different riders, so it doesn't matter where they come from. We just have 4 requirements that they have to meet. So they have to have good grades in school, 7 or 8 years of age, and then have some racing experience. So that's how they get picked for each round.
It's awesome, and these bikes are just like replicas of Ryan Dungey's, so they get the full pro experience. And I just see these kids' faces light up when they come to do this, and you're kind of mom for the day and stuff. But tell us a funny story about doing it so far.
Every weekend it's just is funny, and actually yesterday we were over talking to the guys, and the kids were over there, and they're like, hey Frankie, what's the coolest thing about Marvin's bike? And he's like, well, this isn't Marvin's bike, this is my bike. And the kid said, he goes, well, it can't be your bike because it wouldn't get off the ground because of your big old belly. So that was just something that funny happened. But the kids always get so pumped to see the riders and down in the tunnel, and they're always screaming and yelling Dungey and everybody. So they're just super fans as much as they're riders. So
how is it out there? How's the track?
It's pretty good.
Do you like riding this cool bike with getting to wear the cool gear this weekend?
Yeah, it was very fun.
What's the funnest part about it so far?
I do not know.
What's your favorite part of the track?
The whoops and the straightaways and the wall.
You like the whoops? Those look pretty tough out there. You getting through them pretty good?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite rider?
James Stewart and Barsha.
And Justin Barsha? Cool. Those are pretty fast guys. Now, has Miss Chrissy been nice and helped you out a lot this weekend?
Yes.
What are you going to do tonight? You going to win, or how do you think you're going to do?
Very good.
They got the factory hauler right here. They got factory bikes. Very cool experience. Just another part that makes the 2015 Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship very unique and very awesome. That's just this week's Toyota Tailgate Talk. And we're back here at NRG Stadium. There's the track update. We got a wall, Jim. There's a wall.
Well, and when you were talking to the little KTM Junior Supercross Challenger competitor 2 weeks ago, he said he loved the wall. Yeah. Well, they loved it here. They brought it back. So, what happens is sometimes the lap times, they were kind of getting down there in the 45s. They want to slow the guys down a little bit. So they put a little wall there. So you kind of got to brake hard into that section. And
well, as Adam Insignap told us, it was one line. The only way to get that jump after the wall from triple on top of the tabletop was from the inside. Now, with the wall, you can go out to the berm or you can go to the inside. I think it widened the track out there a little bit. Also, like you said, dropped the lap times a little bit.
Well, that's, like we've talked about it so many times this year, the Feld track crew, they design the track and they put it down on paper and then they transition it to the dirt and then the guys go out there and it not necessarily works sometimes. It looks good on paper, but it don't look good in real life, so they have to go out there and make a few changes. And if you notice also, they add a little bit of water out there, put some moisture into the track and some of the turns there, and they're still out there. You see the big dozers in that sand section there, kind of grooming that up and, fixing that up, and they just want to make the best track possible for these guys. And I'm a little bit jealous because back when I rode, the track was built and that was it. They didn't change nothing. They said, "Look, you don't like it, don't ride." And I'm going, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll shut up," or they didn't have all the maintenance that we have here. And like you said, you heard Steve Wise talk about it and other guys that have been on, and Ralph Shaheen, the evolution of Supercross and making it better, and just, the fan atmosphere, the party in the pits, and everybody is accessible and things like that. I mean, it's a great sport. And like we talk about it, Andy, we're just big fans ourselves.
Here on Race Day Live.
And we're just happy to be here. And, I'm kind of bummed out. We only got this round and 3 more after, and then that's it until next year. Well, I can't forget about the Monster Energy Cup in mid-October there. I believe it's October 17th.
That's right.
But I look forward to that because a lot of teams, a lot of new guys on new bikes, and then, we were talking about it with Ralph. A lot of changes, you got the Joker lane. That's kind of where they try different things.
3 10-lap main events, the Joker lane, switching it up. This track design, I really like the effort. I like the direction they're going, thinking outside the box. That's what grew this sport, trying new things. I mean, you had telephone poles for whoops. You actually raced over those things. And we had tractor trailers for tabletops.
And we had payphones back then. We didn't have cell phones, so if you wanted to find out the results or how someone did, you had to run down to the local payphone and call home to my dad or my mom and say, I got 5th tonight. What do you mean 5th? What happened? Then, well, wait a minute, I got to put another quarter in the machine,
You got to explain
why. In. It's, it's just, I'll talk to you when I get home. But I mean, just the evolution of society in the world on how we do things now, and it just transitions into the Supercross, and I think it's a great product that we have here with Supercross.
And now we got a wall.
And we got a wall.
And a lot of track prep going on. But it's been really exciting so far here in NRG Stadium at round 14. The first 450 qualifying group saw 6 or 7 guys trading positions up at the front, looking over their shoulder after the finish line and being mad because somebody messed up their heater. Chad Reed threw off all of his tear-offs, and that's awesome. Those guys are going for it. Gets us fired up.
They are. And another one of our guests that we had is we're looking at a chance to see some of those dozers with that sand section, just making it perfect for these guys. Austin Politelli, you saw him with the thumbs up. He's sitting 8th in the points right now.
The 258.
He's looking for a chance,
10.
a top 10, because here's a kid that hasn't had a top 10. The best finish he's had
14th.
Is a 14th, and he had a 16th at San Diego, and he knows that he can do better. And I know that all the guys at 5150 and Terry Beal and all the guys believe in him, and he's the guy over there.
Absolutely. And we got to remember Arena Cross has a lot of positive things going on right now at their race to the championship. And arenacross.com, log on to the official website at arenacross.com for daily updates on Ricky Carmichael's road to Supercross. See all the drama unfold as Arena Cross riders battle it out to become the next to realize their Supercross dreams. Follow AMSOIL Arena Cross on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to get in on the conversation. Use hashtags AMSOIL Arena Cross, hashtags Road to Supercross, and see your photos on the official website of AMSOIL Arena Cross. Very exciting stuff going on over there.
And you talk about it right now. They're in Spokane tonight. Next weekend they'll be in Tacoma. After that, Fresno, and then
Vegas,
May 1st, Vegas on Friday night.
Wait.
South Point hotel over there. I'm going to go over there on Friday night. I want to watch it. And
kicking it with Wes Kane, man.
Hopefully, Stretch Kessler can get a hold of the winner of the AMSOIL Arena Cross Championship for 2015, put them on Race Day Live the next day. I want to talk to the guys live, and I want to see how it was. And
who do you think it's going to be?
I can't call it because there's 6
Hayes?
guys. There's 6 guys 11 points separate him, and I don't know. There's still 4 more rounds to go racing. You know, I kind of like to see Regal and Husky.
Yeah.
You know, Husky's putting in get a championship, but I don't know. Blosso's got a lot of experience. Gerke, Hayes. I mean,
a lot of guys.
You can just go down the list. I mean, you know, I'm a Yamaha guy. Robert Canary, he's in there.
Canari's won races this year,
so we'll
That's
see
right.
what happens. But
very cool.
Consistency is going to win that championship. Like we talked about, we saw Bloss open up and dominate, and then the next weekend crashes and finishes up 10th or 12th or whatever, and didn't hardly get that many points. And then Regal's consistent, so he's leading the championship right now.
Right, it's really cool stuff over there, and all of it, some of the underlying stories are the people that are getting their points to make it to Supercross. Racers just like Aaron Plessinger, racers just like R.J. Hampshire. That's how you get to the big show, through Arena Cross. So it's pretty awesome. We have a Twitter question here.
All right.
There we go. Well, Ryan Dungey, Duramax his way to the 450 Supercross title tonight. Duramax Diesel.
Let me ask you this, that 831, because you know me and Twitter and my flip phone and all that. 831, is that his number?
I lapped this. I would
831,
think,
you see it? Because 831, that was my first national
number.
When I rode a Mugen back in 1979.
Well, how about that? I hope Lap This
is
listening to Jim Hawley right now.
Yeah, that was one of my numbers. But,
yes.
Well, Dungey, what was the question?
He said, will he Duramax his way to the championship tonight?
I mean, I think so. I mean, he's going to have some horrible luck, and I just don't see it happening. I just see him clinching the championship tonight. I mean, you know, he can finish second or third, you know, but as long as Tomac wins. I mean, if Tomac wins, he's got to be in that top 3. If he finishes 4th, then we're going to take it on down to next weekend in Santa Clara and see at Levi Stadium down there. But, I mean, I don't see him.
As good as he's riding.
He's been on the podium every round except for the opening round where he got a 4th.
His worst finish of the year is 4th.
He's been every time after that. He's been on the podium. So I mean, how can you bet against that?
Who won 2 weeks ago?
I think he's going to be on a podium. Yeah, he won 2 weeks ago. I mean, it's incredible. But we'll see. We'll see. That's why we go racing. I mean, nothing's in the bag until you have a 75-point lead with 3 rounds to go. Then it's in the bag.
Well, he does have a formidable opponent chasing him. You know, Eli Tomac. You know, it's pretty cool. We talked about it earlier. We had Eli Tomac and John Tomac and Jeff Emmett got together for some mountain bike riding. Some pretty cool stories there, a father-son relationship. And John Tomac's a world champion mountain biker. So anytime you can beat a world champion at anything, son or not, professional supercross athlete, soccer player, whatever you are, if you can beat John Tomac up a hill on a mountain bike, you're the man. But it was a cool segment. Check it out.
Way to shred, bro. We could not catch you. Kathy, your husband, John, a legend in the mountain bike world. Eli's fitness has now surpassed where John's at.
Well, I think it happened a couple years ago. I remember that day because he came home and he's like, Mom, I beat Pop on the top of the hill. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I beat him. Johnny was like, I can't believe it. It's happening.
Live your life, make up your mind. It's your life, take it all away with you. Live your life, time's on your side. It's your life, tell me what you're gonna do.
When did you overtake Dad here?
I got him at the top, like, I'd say in the last 3 minutes of the climb.
Yeah?
That's where I throw down, where it gets steep.
He always attacks me at the end.
Yeah?
Like, he's got more top end than me.
So what's that experience like, knowing that your son is at that sort of top level as an athlete and watching him go by? Are you proud, or are you going, okay? Because I know you guys are really competitive.
Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet.
There's a lot of trash talk. It's definitely more of that than trying to be like nice, like, hey, good job. I like the trash talk.
Ooh, you gotta live your life, make up your mind. It's your life, take it all away with you.
I knew he had to be that strong to be at the top of his sport. Finally, there was a time when I was pushing him to go hard, and I wasn't able to stay with him.
At the end of the day, there will be no doubt what your heart is beating for.
How's that feel to drop Dad, knowing the legendary mountain bike racer that he is?
I mean, it is what it is. It feels good every time.
It feels good every time.
My fitness can come up a little bit.
Okay, all right. Already excuses already out of Dad.
Oh, you got the double? Oh, it's still going.
Come on, Eli.
None for you? Nah. I think I should just keep it cool.
All right, one more loop.
Yeah, I got one more in me to throw down on you.
Been training a little more recently, trying to minimize my damage. The problem is I go harder and I'm going faster, and he seems to go a little harder and a little faster. See if you can get me on the climb again.
Yeah, I'll get you to the top.
All right, roll.
It is really a funny deal, kind of.
Pretty cool father and son relationship there, huh, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Eli did it the right thing by not trying that jump to John off the rock. You know, you don't want to have something happen. Yeah, you get off and you break your shoulder or something. But
talk about an opposite, pull there. John Tomac, 20 years older than Eli's, doubling down the hill, and then Eli's beating John up the hill. So.
Well, John's got a lot of experience, and he knows a mountain bike on how to jump it. But, yeah, going up the hill, yeah, I mean, you get old. Your legs are older now, and you got the young kids. I mean, it happens to me all the time with my kids when we go out mountain biking. They just kick my butt going up the hill. But coming down, I got them. I got them coming down.
You get the speed going.
Oh, yeah, there's no problem. You're in my way. I'm punting you off the side, and then we get in a big argument down at the bottom. Then they say, let's go back up to the top again.
Gentleman
so, nope,
Jim Hawley.
I'm tired.
Putting his kids out in the cactus. I tell you what, man, we've been talking about it. Some good energy going on here today at Houston in NRG Stadium. The qualifying sessions so far have been exciting. There's been some cool things happen here historically in Houston. We briefly talked about it earlier in the show, but with some trivia and some numbers and some history, some first-time winners here. Most notably, let's look at 2001 to start it off. And
well, I want to go back to the first-time winners here. There's 7 of them.
Yeah,
7 of them in that in the 250 class, but back in 1986, it was a 125, and that was won by Willie Surratt. And then our own Fox Sports 1, Jeff Emig, Jimmy Gaddis, you had mentioned earlier in the show, Shea Bentley, we haven't heard his name in a while, 00, and then Travis Preston,
that's the one I wanted to talk about. Right.
That's the one I know you. That's the one when I was, we always talk about how long I've been in broadcasting. I remember I was broadcasting that event here, and Grant Langston was leading it, going to have his first win. And
one-hander.
Yeah, one-hander to the crowd, and he throws it away, and it gives Husqvarna a win here in Houston for Travis Preston. And Fast by Faraci that year was sponsoring the Husky. Yeah, it was incredible to see that win, and you know what Travis Preston did after that. That was the start of it. He won a championship for the Geico Honda team over there. But after him,
he beat James Stewart.
Matt Walker in 02 won here. Austin Stroop in 08. And then, like you said, KTM with Kenny Roczen in 2012. Blake Wharton. These are guys that have won races before, but I'm just looking at the difference. When Blake Wharton won in 2013 here on a Suzuki, Suzuki had gone 17 seasons without winning a race here in that 250 class, and Wharton did it. And then last year on a KTM, Jason Anderson did it. So a lot of history here in that for first-time winners, 7 of them here in Houston. But back old Wild Willie Surratt on a factory Suzuki RM125.
Right. Let's transition to tonight. Who hasn't won one of these things that has the possibility of doing it? Shane McGrath hasn't won one. Let's see.
He's got a chance?
Yeah, got a good chance. Zach Osborne. Don't think Zach Osborne's won one of these.
No, he's had podiums before, but he's got to, and he's got to be a guy that you look at because Supercrosslive.com has paid him a lot of money for hole shots in the past, and if he can get a hole shot, I mean, this might be a course. And you got to remember that he's been battling a lot of injuries at the start of the season. Thumb, when him and Tyler Bowers came together and got punted off the track. So he's another guy. If you look down the list at first-time winners there, like you talked about, how about Alex Martin? He's had a podium before.
Had a chance to win Oakland.
He could win Oakland. Another guy here, you're looking.
Zach Bell's never won one.
Zach Bell could. And Zach Bell, no, he's not. But he had a great ride. He had a 7th last time we saw him in San Diego. But if you look down the line, it's hard to say. But that's about it for right now. In that 250 class that have an opportunity. But if you mentioned an opportunity first-time winners. You know, it's been done before on a Honda. I guess Cole Seeley's got to be that guy. Looking for he could possibly be the guys. We're seeing him work a little bit more on another section of the track, and that's that double jump as you come back
after the finish line.
After the finish line there, so they're just kind of building that up a little bit. And some of the guys were maybe complaining that it was a little bit too hard to get over that, but I don't think so. But they're just kind of grooming the track, making it right for the guys.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we talked about earlier, Andy, you know, with that wall jump. You know, you saw the track, 45-second lap times. You know, they're coming out for their final time practice. It's only going to get faster.
Right.
You know, they could easily maybe shave off another couple seconds. So the Feld track crew, they said, you know what? We got to keep these guys. We got to slow them down here. So they're just slowing down the track and putting in some obstacles that'll slow it down.
Well, Jim, I was here yesterday on press day, and Andrew Short and Justin Brayton were out there circulating the track, and they didn't like a couple of things, and, you know, they listened to the racers here. We try to put on the best show possible, and in the name of safety, they changed them. But what that did, you know, those little changes that they made sped up the track faster than they thought it would. Now the lap times dipped into the 45s. They went from 57s to 45s. So what do? Change it again.
Put some wall jumps in.
Slow it down a little bit. Put a wall in. Make that double a little steeper after the finish line. All it's going to do is create a better show today and tonight on Fox Sports 2. And we really want to remind you guys that Jason Anderson behind the, Supercross Behind the Dreams is going to be a good one tonight. Jason Anderson's a funny cat. He's got a good program going on down there with Alden Baker. You know, rookie in his 450 season. There's the beautiful Diana Dahlgren getting ready to, preempt her show there on Fox Sports 2.
Wow, our ratings just went up.
I know. You can watch our viewers going up right now. I don't think she knows that she's on our screen, though.
She doesn't. She would wave to us. She's doing something for Fox Sports 2, I believe. Diana Dahlgren, 5-time Miss Supercross.
Miss Supercross. She's been a busy girl, yeah. I was able to talk to her this morning and see how, she's been traveling a lot, has her bar and grill up there in Spokane. So the arena cross guys have been up there and frequenting the place, and she's a busy girl. So it's going to be good tonight, 450 class, 450 championship, 250 West championship. This could be title town here in Houston.
Well, and the other thing too, we talked about, with that 450 class, welcome back the man who runs that number 51, Justin Barsha, back to Houston. We had a tweet in earlier. The guy was asking, should he come back? Absolutely. I'm a firm believer in if you're ready to come racing, you're healthy, you need to race. That's what you get paid for. You get paid to race a motorcycle, and he's smart enough out there. He's not going to do anything. He just wants to get some races under his belt before that outdoor season starts.
Sure, a podium or a win bonus would be pretty nice in the next 4 weeks for Justin Barsha.
Yeah, definitely the win bonus. Yeah. I'm not sure. They paid him a lot of money, I'm sure. I don't know if he gets podium.
Second, third?
Yeah, maybe just wins.
Yeah.
Hey, we're paying you enough. We're only paying you for wins. I know how Coach Joe Gibbs is and Coy over there. It's all about winning. We'll pay you if you win, but second place, we're not good with it.
Can he win one of these things?
Absolutely.
I think
he can. He can. Yeah. I mean, especially with the way things are developed, you look at Tomac, the inconsistency that he has, if he gets a bad start. Dungey's wanting to wrap up the championship. If he gets a start and runs out there and nobody, he could do exactly what he did when he won his first in Phoenix a couple years ago, where he just kind of went out and rode his own race and checked out. It could be a night like that for him also.
It could. It's a good opportunity for Justin to come back into the series. Like you just said, Diesel's trying to get the championship. Tomac inconsistent, going for wins. He makes mistakes. We don't ever know we're going to get out of the number 3. It's only a sophomore season, but
how nice would it be though to have the Joe Gibbs Toyota Yamaha team go 1-2, Weston Pike and Justin Barsha. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it could be excellent. Yeah, it's going to be.
I know those guys will be battling.
Well, coming up, folks, we still got the 250A and 450A qualifiers coming up. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages. AMSOIL is the official oil of Loretta Lynn's, AMSOIL Arena Cross, and Monster Energy Supercross. It's not only the official oil, AMSOIL products have been tested in the most extreme conditions at the track and on the trail to ensure they are formulated for superior dirt bike performance. Get out front performance, get AMSOIL. And DC Shoes. DC Shoes is proud to be the official footwear sponsor of Monster Energy Supercross. Defy convention with DC Shoes. It's a pretty cool thing they have going on there with DC Shoes. Winning that last chance qualifier and winning the main event. $10,000, baby.
We've been close this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of pulling, for somebody to possibly do that and get a chance to earn $10,000. I mean, I think that's a great bonus. I mean, if you come from that last chance and you win that thing and you're getting almost, well, they take 4, so you're going to get the 18th gate pick on the starting line for that main event. If you can come back and win the main event and pick up $10,000 extra, that's huge, as we're getting a chance to see some of the guys lined up here ready to go. You see the AMA official there kind of holding them back, and they're excited because now they know that they got a new track to go out there. And we always talk about it, your first time practice, very important to lay down a fast lap time, because that could be the one that gets you in, because now the track's changed, they're slowing it down. We're not going to get into those 45s now.
Got to make it into the fast forward to make the night show.
Yeah, so I mean, you had an opportunity, and it's equal. It's not like they went halfway through and hey, we got to change the track. It's going to be an all-new track for these guys on that first lap here, and they're going to have to take it easy because a lot of things have changed out there.
I'd say so. Yeah, quite a bit of things.
Especially that sand.
The tire sand sections.
That sand is just nasty.
It's been different all day. It's been different 3 times a day, but we're going to get it right. Going to get the lap times where we want them and have the safest track possible. And we're going to go after these championships tonight. 14 rounds into this thing, man. I never thought I'd see it coming. When round 1 in Anaheim, the Who's Next hashtags, we had 15 guys on factory bikes. We had Will Hahn back with us. We had Ken Roczen.
Yeah.
Ken Roczen winning the first 2 out of the first 3. Eli Tomac threw a win in there. Canard won some, and then all of a sudden about round 6, the diesel caught fire, and he just turned the lights out, man.
Well, he did, and you talk about that round 1, and then we started having the injuries. Will Hahn was out in round 1. A couple rounds later there, Barsha's out, Brayton's out, and
Dean Wilson.
Dean Wilson. I mean, the list goes on, and you have injuries like that.
Pike.
I don't think there's been a whole season in the history of Supercross where everybody's been healthy all 17 rounds.
That's why it's the toughest sport in the world, man.
All right, let's watch the boys now on these new sections here. They're going to make that left-hander under the bridge, up and over, and I want to see how they navigate through the sand, because, I mean, it looks gnarly as they come down the jump. They got that double there, but right here, it's nasty in there. They put a lot of whoops there. This is where you got to turn right on that first lap, and there's that wall jump that they just redid. And I think everything else on this side of the track looks pretty much the same, and the whoops and things like that. You're only going to see that other bigger double after the Monster Energy line, Monster Energy finish line. And there it is right there, that big double right there.
And folks, shop for all official Monster Energy Supercross merchandise on the official online store. Go to supercrosslive.com and click on store to get a great selection of the hottest gear. Shop by rider items including caps, jerseys, tees, hoodies, and much more. Look out for special offers from official gear all season long right here on Race Day Live and supercrosslive.com, the official website of Monster Energy Supercross.
And I'm not sure they didn't fix that triple jump right there. It looks like it's a little bit steeper, making it a little bit easier for the guys to get up and over that triple. Here's that wall jump that we talked about also as they come back onto the track here. A little bit, you're going to have a problem. You see the guys drifting out. They need to need to square up. Those big doubles are just, they're gone now. I mean, they're away.
And 284, Mr. Church leads these guys around right now. There's a lap time, 54.1. So yeah, Jim, they've succeeded in slowing the track down for sure. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I think the A guys were down in what, the 45s?
45s, yep.
Wow.
45s. So, well, let me see. Let me make sure on the time practice for the 45.6 for the number 17 of Cooper Webb there at 46, and a 46 for Justin Hill. So with that being said, considerably, we didn't check the lap times of Mr. Church, that first one, but I think they are going to be a couple seconds slower.
That's good, though. Got to have the lap times right where we want them.
There's Mr. and Mrs. Hill there, and Justin's girlfriend. They're all kind of walking by us, getting ready to watch their son and boyfriend get out there in that final A time practice.
I'd like to see Justin go out and get this one tonight. It's been a tough season for him. He had so much promise, a lot of speed coming out of Monster Cup. I think he finished, what, 3rd overall over there?
Yeah, I mean, on a 450, everybody, you talk about that. And you know, on who's next on that 450, but we thought for sure that Hill going to come out and, you know, possibly be fighting for this championship. But I mean, he's sitting in that, I believe he's 7th in the point standings. But like you said, just having some bad night. Yeah, 7th. Yeah. He's got 79 points right ahead of him with 81. Aaron Plessinger, and then in 5th with 86, Shane McElrath. That's about as high as he can get up to. But if you look at that, you know, the first round he got 18 points, 15, 20, which is a 3rd. Then he had 12 points, 13 points, and then he had that one in San Diego where he broke his foot and had problems.
First lap, I think it was, too, right off the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, major bummer there. Major bummer. But I tell you what's not a major bummer is our new website over at supercrosslive.com. We're very proud of it. Log on to the official website of Monster Energy Supercross at supercrosslive.com. You get exclusive race day coverage, daily updates, exclusive content. You get rider interviews, race highlights, and more. Check out results, point standings. What do we get? Van Martin?
Yeah, Van Martin.
Did go down?
He actually did like a little Superman there for a second. He gathered it right up, though.
No good. I was just trying to finish advertising our new website there, but I think everybody gets the gist of it. We got a new website. Go to supercrosslive.com and check it out. Send us some photos. We'll put you on our montage there on the cover page.
Well, and I want to congratulate you, Andy. You're a full-time Feld employee now.
Thank you.
Congratulations for that.
Truly an honor.
Nice bump in pay for you.
Yeah.
Little bit of a bump anyhow.
Hey, everything's all good, brother. You know, just super happy and proud to find a home here in the sport that I love so much, and great people, surrounded by awesome people that are just like you and me, Jim. You know, they have a passion for what they do, have a commitment to excellence, and no, thank you very much. Very, very happy.
There's Ulrich there, 164. He just laid down a 51.6, so a great lap time for him. He's leading this B qualifying session here.
Ulrich and
looks good.
Ulrich and Urson. Say that 5 times really fast.
No, just one. One time on tongue twist me.
You know, I think I'm an Instagram connoisseur. That's kind of what my new position is with Feld now, digital media. But I think I saw one of Rhett Urson railing a berm and left, you know, a 3rd gear wide open berm. I'll show you later when we get offline. It's amazing. You know, to see him out here in the B group, you know, on Instagram, he looks like a hero. But doing pretty good here tonight. It's the 2nd quickest so far in 250B qualifying number 2.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's looking good out there. I mean, he should be able to make that main event.
51.3 is our hot lap so far by Ulrich.
Has not made a main event yet, so he's got only 2 more opportunities for him to get that bike, that number 164 in the main events. I'm trying to see the number of this man on the Honda here.
Bannister.
Bannister, is that Bannister?
Yeah, Bannister.
See, now, if I'm working with Bannister, he's going a little wide. You need to square that corner up when you come back around that right-hander after that timing section, because a lot of these guys are drifting out and they're having to come back into the track, and you want to try to make a nice straight line out of it.
Well, I thank all the viewers for tuning in. I want to thank our international guests. We know you guys are watching. Thank you for tuning in to Race Day Live and helping me and Jim do what we do. And we're having a good time here in Houston, Texas. I tell you what, you guys are just watching the action on the screen, but Jim, we can tell we're in Texas just by some of the fans coming by, don't you think?
Everything's big in Texas.
That's
let
right.
me tell you, everything is big in Texas.
I don't know if you guys are picking up what we're putting down, but it's a good view here from the Race Day Live set.
Well, look at those sand. I mean, it's big sand section.
Yeah,
we haven't seen that.
Big sand.
Over and under's big. I don't know if I can get up and over that thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Dirt's good. We got new dirt. You know, it's not the old red, you know, I like to call it the Kevin Windham dirt because he was always so fast here. It was one of his local races. This stuff's a little more tacky, but we got some sand in it, got some ruts. It's going to be a good race tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, I like change. I like change with the dirt, you know, like, you know, we heard, you know, the guys, they had to change it. They had the Monster Jam in here over a lot of years. A lot of parts in there, and they just want to make it good. And I like this soil. I think it's fine. I'd like to go out there and take a lap or 2.
I think so. Looks like a good racetrack. You know, I like that corner right there after the finish line, nice and wide. Opens up some opportunities for these 250 West guys to do some block passing. And again, look at the big left-handed corner after the sand section. Another place to pass.
Yeah. Well, and another thing they did also, you're going to notice when you come over the over and under bridge, they used to have a jump before that, so you jumped over the whole thing. They took that out.
Right.
So they just go up and over. We're seeing it right here.
It's just a tabletop.
Just a tabletop now.
Right.
So, you know, they slowed it up considerably.
Ooh. Boy, he just went all the way to the flats.
But Ulrich still out there with that 51.5, and Howell now with the 51.5 also. So those are the first two guys. Ursef rather, a 51.7 for him. Not too bad of a lap time for these guys.
About a minute and a half to go here at 250B qualifying number 2 before the A guys come out. And going to be good. Going to be interesting to see if Justin Hill can be the fastest qualifier or Cooper Webb. Cooper hasn't been the fastest. Yeah, he was actually last time out. He was third or fourth in the untimed practice, and I think he was the heat in qualifying number 1. And then so it's been 2 months, but a lot of people have forgotten how fast Cooper Webb is. He's fast. I've seen the kid come from 10th place at Anaheim. I think it was Anaheim 2. Well, he just passed everybody.
And I can guarantee you that Marvin Muskin's going to watch that Fox Sports 2 broadcast
tonight.
And keep his eye on Cooper Webb, as well as next weekend when we're in Levi Stadium, Santa Clara. One of the guys going down there, 278.
Yeah.
See that is there on our screen there.
Judging from his subframe,
Anthony there.
Pretty spectacular.
Mr. Anthony, hopefully he'll be all right.
I really like his bike too with the gold rims. That's a good looking machine right there.
That's a throwback. You know, I remember when Yamaha's had gold rims on them when they came.
Man, Parker Anthony from Americus, Georgia, all the way from Georgia. You know, he lists Bigfoot Racing, Guts Racing, Del West, IMS, Galfer, and Chewy as his sponsors. He's going to need him there because that bike needs some work.
You know, I got a chance off camera. I talked to Alex Moros, and we saw Gannon Audette in that 450 class.
Right.
We just assumed he was riding a 450, but he's on a 250. He's trying to get that 250 into the main event against the 450s.
And this is Cooper Webb's mom just came by the Race Day Live set, gave us a wave. It's kind of cool to see the parents coming by to get into the rider seating to watch.
She's a school teacher.
Yeah.
School teacher. Yeah.
North
I talked to
Carolina.
her a little bit in Atlanta, and she came up and she was asking me a few words on Japanese because she wants to go back over there. Cooper rode the final round of the All Japan Grand Prix last year, and that's always neat, you know, when you do well for a factory. They invite you back over to go to a different country, and they had a great time over there. Well, that's it. This one's over for Ulrich. That 51.3 is going to stick.
Your top 5: Ulrich, Ursic, Howell, Silverstein, and Simino. 360. Our friend Denny Stevenson's number.
Yeah, that was Denny's number, old 360. It's good to have him on the show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, man, it's cool. You know, that's what's been so special for me, Jim, is to see my childhood heroes like Steve Wise, you know, Denny Stevenson, stand next to you. You know, I remember my dirt bike magazine, you know, High Torque publications.
Yeah, High Torque. Well, dirt bike, motocross action.
Covers and
Roland Hines owned High Torque publication. Old Roland, he was good guy, and he still owns it. Still, I think his kids have kind of taken it over now.
It's been cool. We had some great guests today. Steve Wise was really fun to talk to.
Wow, I got to send DJ over there to say hi. We got a lot of fans waving in at us and stuff.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. The
250B is all wrapped up. Yeah.
49 guys entered in here today in that 250 class, and 450, 45 guys.
We got another Twitter question here from the boss lady, Christy Cannon.
All right. Where's Olivia?
I know. When they change the track so drastically, like they have today, should the riders get a chance to walk the track again? Interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, Christy. I mean, these guys are professional enough, and, you know, they just made some minor changes, just a couple little jumps. But, you know, the thing about it is I know all the AMA guys prior to when I used to ride, hey, guys, we changed this jump, we changed this. And these guys all have, you know, handlers and team managers and guys like that. They're telling about the changes. So it really wasn't too drastic of a change. It's just a couple little jumps to slow it down. So, you know, these guys are professionals. You got to use your head. You slow down the first couple laps until you figure that section out.
Once they get to this level, a few little words, they've been around the track enough tonight, say, hey, we changed this, we changed that. They're fine. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I was just laughing at something. One time I was on a show in Canada, and it was Brandon Fraser and Sarah Jessica Parker. It was the Dudley Do-Right thing, and they changed the jump. And they said, you want a rehearsal? We all said no. But Jimmy Roberts was there, and he crashed off this thing. I felt so bad that I didn't say, Well, we should have a rehearsal, but it was just one of those things.
Bad example, Jim. Bad example.
Well, here's the A, guys.
Shane McGrath, he could be the guy. You know, he'd be a good sleeper victory tonight.
Yeah, he's got a lot of confidence. And, you know, when you get your first podium like that and you get a second, you want that series to continue.
That's right.
Well, it stopped. We went to Arlington and we picked up that East Coast. And, you know, he's got he had a long break, but he's ready to go here. He looks good. Going through the whoops there, that right left-hander up and over the Monster Energy finish line. This is one of the jumps that they changed right there, but
slowed him down quite a bit.
What they did is just, you know, they put a little bit more height, because what happens is if you have a small double, you can probably keep it wide open, you know, and hit that. Now it's so high, if you hit that thing wide open, you're going to end up in the stands. So you better back the throttle down and brake a little bit before the jump. So that's all they really didn't change the positioning of the jumps, they just changed some of the angles.
In an effort to slow
it down. Here's another one. You're going to come right around here, and you're going to have to get on the brakes right here and just roll over this wall jump. That's it.
There they go, tripling up on top. That's the fast way through that rhythm section right. Ooh, careful.
But he kept the throttle on. You notice how it nosed down. He kept that throttle on, and it straightened him right out of there. Yeah, he looks like he's on a heater. Let's see, there it was, a 49.7, so considerably, you know, right now I'm sure that 49.7 is going to drop down. Actually, Hill just put in a 48.7, so it's a couple seconds off, 3 seconds right now of what they were turning in on the 45s.
They picked up 3 seconds, yeah, for sure. I'd say the fastest cat in this qualifying session is going to end up being about a 47.
Yeah, but it's not, but I mean, Cooper Webb with that 45.6, that's going to be the fast time, but that's going to stick. He's going to have the fastest time, and he's going to have the second heat race and the first gate pass.
Absolutely. There's our boy Politelli right there. He seemed pretty fired up and happy about his first qualifying session. Big kid too. Wow.
Well, and the thing about it, he had a 47.5, and he was 8th fastest. And you know, if you want to get in that top 10 consistently, you got to have another top 10 time now, and then you believe in yourself. Hey, I went out there in both qualifying sessions. See how it drifts out a little bit, and then you got to hook back in. They need to tighten that up a little bit.
Something happened there. Couldn't get on the throttle quick enough to get up on top of that tabletop.
Yeah, you gotta sometimes you gotta do that if you don't have it. It's a safe enough jump where if you come up short, nothing's really going to happen on that end.
He was on a heater. That really slowed him down. It was going to be an excellent lap right there. That put him 12th. You know, let's say that was
well, now
50.5. He would have picked up probably a second.
But now he's down to 13th, and you know, I'm sure when his mechanic comes around, he's going to put 13th. You're in 13th now and put his lap time. And he's going to try to, you know, better his lap time the next time around if nobody gets in his way.
Local Texas guy Matt Michelle, up at the top of the board right now. Number 38, the Geico Honda. Good to see that.
There's 31 out there. Alex Martin
got his handlebar fixed.
Yeah, he got his handlebar, new fender on that. I wouldn't be surprised if Christina Denny wasn't out there taking off that front fender saying, Alex,
turning T-handles.
But they got all the parts. You know, that rig in there not only helps out their riders, but any Yamaha rider out there for that matter can go by there and buy some parts at a great price and get that Yamaha back out onto the track. I'd like to see Alex this year with another podium, and you know, the Bay Area has been good to him. We're going there next weekend. New stadium,
wait.
Levi.
Be fun, man.
Maybe get a see that right there when it comes in. That kind of there's that triple there. So let's see if Alex is on a heater right now. He's sitting right now. He's sitting in 9th position with a 49.9 or a 49.4.
He's on that Yamaha YZ250F. And race fans, if you're looking for a bike you can win on right out of the crate, check out the Yamaha YZ450F and National MX Champion YZ250F at YamahaMotorsports.com today.
Well, and not only that, it's already got 4 wins on this East Coast, West Coast. It's got 1 win with Jeremy Martin on the East Coast. So they got 5 Supercross wins combined. So
good so far.
Not bad.
Aldridge, can't wait to see him tonight. Really interesting to see if he can keep it on 2 wheels, ride 15 laps. This guy too might have something up his sleeve for these guys. The heat races tonight are going to be good. Everything's going to be exciting tonight about the racing. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, but now you're going to see up top 34, Malcolm Stewart with a 47.7 now for Malcolm Stewart. Hill right behind him with a 48.1. And then you got Shane McGrath. See what that second place does? A 48-1 for McGrath, sitting third right now. Now it changes up a little bit. Bishelia jumps up into that second spot.
Better keep your eye on the big bad wolf, though. Number 17. He's just out there biding his time. We got a little under 5 minutes to go here in 250 qualifying number 2. When Cooper Webb's ready to crack off a fast lap.
There's those boots on Josh Hansen that we talked about as Cooper Webb goes blowing by him.
Let's get. Oh, here we go. Now we're locked on Cooper. He's really on a heater.
There he is.
Yeah.
Let's stay with Cooper
See
Webb
how hard he went into that corner.
Yeah.
Real deep on the brakes. Quads out of that section.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Shut it down.
Don't like that lap.
Don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop. Oh, keep the wheels rolling.
Is that what they're telling him in the mechanics area right now, Jim?
Well, he should have just pulled into the mechanics area there. I mean, I'm not so sure that, I don't know exactly what the ruling is. If you come to a complete stop, you know, that's like kind of a rolling stop, a California stop on the stop sign there. He really didn't come to a stop, but, you know, he's got an argument. But I think I would have just pulled into the mechanics area because he clearly wanted to talk to the mechanic.
Here we go. Let's see if he tries for another. Yeah, scrubbing that one.
Going around that left-hander, he's up and over the over and under bridge there, heading into the sand right now.
He's going fast. Let's see, he just caught Bowers there in a weird spot. It's not going to slow it down. Scrubs the triple super hard, laid onto the brakes, rails the right-hander.
Yeah, this is where you're going backwards, you know, off the start. I'm curious on how he takes his turn, if he tucks it in. See, downshifter right there. And see
held
how
it pretty tight. Held it tight, Jim,
yeah,
like you said.
Yeah, you got to keep it.
Triples on top.
There you go. Yeah, he's on a heater right now. Let's see. Whoa, that's a nice jump.
Haven't seen anybody do that yet.
No, that's where McElrath came up a little short. We saw earlier. So in the whoops, just blitzing him.
I'm going to go on a limb and say just to put him on top of the board.
I think it's going to beat 47.5.
Yep. Does it? He only has 47.7.
Yeah.
Still Malcolm
2/10
Stewart.
off.
Now, judging that lap, Jim, we just watched him do the whole lap. Where was those 2/10 missing, do you think? In a couple different places?
You know, I'm not sure when he came around that
mechanics area sweeper.
Yeah, he just didn't look like he was on it. Yeah, he just didn't look like he was on it. That's a section where you gotta get on it. Everything else looked great, all the corners. Yep. But you notice his corner speed is when he's got a berm, something he can rock it off. This is a flat corner.
Right.
So I'm sure that Gary Bailey's maybe going to look at that and say, look, we need to work on some of these flat corners.
Right.
You're great if you got a berm around you where you can carry that speed, but you know, we need to get you hooked up with Steve Wise and go flat tracking because you have nothing you can bank off of.
Oh. Good stuff right there. I liked watching Cooper go around there, and pretty cool that Malcolm's still the fastest guy.
Yeah, but how about my boy
47.5.
Shane McElrath
hanging
still
right
hanging
in there
in that second with that 47.6.
What's the difference there? 2/10 between the top four?
Yeah, it's nothing.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah, it's 1/10. You know, Malcolm Stewart's got a 5, McElrath's got a 6, and then you got a 7, and you got a 7 for Hill, and then Plessinger's with that 48.0. You know, it's very hard for these guys. I mean, you know, to race the clock one lap, and you know, it's not the race. I mean, you're not getting any extra points for this. You know, it's a whole different ball game when the gate drops and you go racing. But Malcolm looks like he wants to better his time with that 47.5 right now.
I love watching Malcolm ride. He's so talented, but he's this big guy, you know, so he looks so smooth out there, but there's a lot of things going on. You know, you got the long hair. He's 6'1" or 2. He can scrub it hard.
Look
at that corner right there.
Yeah,
oh,
he's
man.
got the corner speed there. This is that timing section where you go triple, and then you get into that corner. Let's see how he gets into that corner.
Held it much tighter there.
Yeah, a little bit tighter, a little bit more on the throttle. You saw the roost. Here's that triple. Let's see if he does what. There he goes there.
Quads out.
Quads into that corner there.
Good
that
right-hander.
Here he's coming up to the whoops.
Oh.
Almost scrubbed it off. Oh! That one got the attention of everybody out there on Race Day Live, Andy. Malcolm Stewart just got off in the whoops, and he was on a heater, that's for sure. We were talking about it. It all started on that double.
Right back there. Yeah, I hope he gets up.
He'll be
his
fine.
knee, man. That's the.
There it is. There. See?
See how he yanked his left knee around?
Yeah.
Let's watch it again.
I mean,
I think left knee a little bit, but I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, See, he's starting to get sideways right here, out of shape. He's trying to keep the throttle on, but right here, he knows he's out of control, and he hits that tough block, and it flips him up and over. He's got his hands out. Rear seat drills him in the back of the head there.
I don't know.
He's a tough kid.
There's a good way to get out of it. You just found it. As bad as that crash could have been.
But prior to that, it was that double you said where he went to scrub it, and he almost got up there. Right there, you need to just back out and roll it, because you can't keep continuing thinking that maybe you're going to straighten it out.
That was a bummer. I hope that doesn't mess up his night, because, you know, he's been fast all day long. Been super good.
Yeah.
But sometimes,
we'll see. Maybe, you know, a 47.5, that looks like it's going to be it for the boys, but Malcolm Stewart still has a fast time, a 47.5. McGrath a 47.6. Cooper Webb jumped up to a 47.7, and then Justin Hill for a 47.7. So
hopefully Malcolm.
He'll be fine. I mean, he's one of those kids that I mean, I've seen him get off, but
he's tough.
Something interesting though. I mean, with Malcolm. They said he's going to ride a 250 in the outdoor. I would have liked to have seen him on a 450.
I would too.
See what he's got, but because he's a big guy.
Well, I talked to his mechanic and asked him about that. I was like, wow, is there enough motor there? And he explained that Malcolm carries the gears way higher, doesn't over rev the motor, carries his momentum so well. You know, he said the rookies like RJ and some of the younger kids were really hitting their chip on the bike.
Yeah.
And he said Malcolm was just floating around the track. You know, as a bigger, heavier guy, he's still able to be under horsepower. Not under horsepower, just, you know, it's a 250.
He's riding in a different. He's riding in a higher gear. He's
more
not
momentum.
Buzzing the motorcycle.
Right.
A lot of those guys, you know, they ring the necks out of the 4-strokes and they think they're going fast. Sounds like you're going fast, but you're past the rev limiter. You're not creating no more horsepower.
It was cool because I was watching the races in St. Louis from the stands for a while with my friend and Ryan Dungey. Here comes Ashley Phillips with Shane McGrath.
Designs Lucas Oil Red Bull KTM. Shane, this track is ever changing. It's changed quite a bit since the first round of qualifying. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's actually really tacky, and the tires, once they grip, they don't break traction. So it's other than the sand, it's pretty good. The lines are forming good, but the sand, it's going to be a big factor tonight.
What makes it so tricky right there?
Just because it's so deep, and with Supercross suspension being so stiff, it doesn't give any, and it wants to turn the bars when instead of using the suspension. So it's definitely going to be one to watch.
Shane, we saw you take your first podium last time we saw you guys race back in February. How are you feeling coming back after almost 2 months?
Yeah, I mean, I feel really good. We've been working really hard on the off season with outdoors and then getting back into Supercross. So just ready to get back to racing.
Top 5 in points this year in 2015. Last year in 2014, we didn't see much out of you. What's so different about you this year?
Just last year I learned a lot, and we got the bike set up really good now. So it's really comforting to know that I can push and the bike will be there for me.
Shane, I know you want to watch this 450 practice. Is there anything you're really going to be looking for that these guys are going to do out there?
No, it's just going to be all about being consistent tonight. With the track breaking down, you're just really going to have to watch for that.
Well, congratulations on a good qualifying time.
Oh, Nick Schmidt goes down on the first lap in the sand section. Yikes. You always got to try to make it around at least a lap before you lay it down in the sand section, Jim.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him there. We talked about it, and that's one of the tweets, Christy Cannon. You know, they made some changes, but he must have been thinking about the sand a little bit too much. But, yeah, he just put around that first lap. I mean, it's because right now, Nick Schmidt, you know, everything is just, you know, his levers, he's got sand on his bike. Now he's got to go out there for 10 minutes. He might pull into the mechanics area and adjust something, but I doubt it. He's going to continue on. But, yeah, you got plenty of time out there. You just want to take it easy that first lap.
Agreed. Must not go down on the first lap of practice.
Well, or the parade lap. I've seen that happen in main events. The guys have watered themselves on the parade lap.
Yeah. There's Weston Pike there. Just went by. Josh Grant, Tickle.
Yeah, Tickle's got to step up. I mean, you know, he's had some good finishes, but I'd like to see him get in that
he's
top 5.
He's got to get a start, Jim. That's the thing. He's riding excellent. He has excellent speed. He had the fastest lap of the race at Daytona Supercross. See Reed right there, jumps that whole thing. I don't know, man. Reed's got some pep in him. He's another guy, if he gets a good start, you cannot deny his speed.
Well, I think he's happy. He's going to go see his buddy, Valentino Rossi, tonight. He's going to fly down to Austin, watch the MotoGP tomorrow. So he'd probably like to go there and have some good news. How'd you do last night, Valentino? I won it.
W. Got the win.
You know, now you got to go do the, exactly. You know, that's how it is back there with those guys, you know, and he wants to try to get another win. But I think most importantly, not only with that win, he wants to gain a lot of points on Seeley. He's not that far behind Cole Seeley in the championship fight. I mean, you look at it.
Make it up to third, maybe.
Cole Seeley sitting with 198. Reed is only 15 back with 4 rounds to go. You got to try to make that up because they're going to pass Trey Canard. Trey Canard's got 198. Seeley's got 183, and Reed 165. Here's the interesting thing. 6th and 7th, the rookies, Anderson with 165 and Blake Baggett with 165. So that's, you know, we got some interesting things.
We remember a little bit of history there with Anderson and Baggett.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I brought that up. You saw on my notes, it was highlighted with yellow right there.
Isn't it funny when you have a rivalry with somebody that they're always right there?
And he's on a yellow Suzuki, and there's yellow in the Husky, so I just kind of highlighted it in yellow right there. But you look at that as riders, you know, hey, I don't want to let that rookie beat me. I think that you can clearly say if something doesn't happen to Cole Seeley that he's going to be the top rookie.
Chad Reed, Kawasaki, won 7 out of 12 in this venue, won 3 in a row. Reed looks good. I mean, he's definitely going in my picks. I'm just not sure where. And Tomac and Dungey, you know, they've traded, the guys have been trading wins back and forth. The last person to win other than Eli Tomac or Dungey was Chad Reed at Atlanta 1. Ever since then, it's been the Diesel or Tomac. Gotta find a nickname for Tomac. You know, E.T., I don't know. It's not very alien-like.
Well, like you said, I think that something could happen with, you know, Cole Seeley get his first win here tonight because, you know, like we talked about it, first-time winners, Weiner, Glover, Canard, but also first-time winners here in that 250 class. Porcel in 2010, Wharton in 2013, and Brock Sellers in 03, and Ivan Tedesco was on a Yamaha then, and he finished up second behind him. So, I mean, it's and he knows that he's only 15 points ahead of Reed, and believe me, when he goes back and he sees Reed, you know, sitting there in third right now, and Seeley's in fourth, they're just a couple tenths off right now. But it's all going to come down to that start. You're going to have to get a good start tonight.
Things will pick up. That's what happened in the first 450A qualifying session. You know, everybody's just kind of methodically putting their laps in, finding some hot laps, and then with about 3 minutes to go, man, it got super exciting. I can't wait. About 2 minutes from now, we're going to see this thing really shake up. Your top 5 right now: Tomac, Davey Millsaps on the Kawasaki up to second, followed by Dungey, Reed, and Cole Seeley. It's pretty nasty top 5 right there.
Well, and you mentioned Millsaps. He's won here before on the 250, as well as Barsha, Short, and Anderson. They've all won here on that 250 class. Let's see if they can do it here in the 450.
Another guy I want to give a shout out to is Kyle Partridge, sitting there in 11th place. I talked to him on the track walk today. Really wants a top 10 finish. You know, he's been in the main events. He says he's been watching the lap times of the guys that are around the top 10, and they've been dropping off in the last 4 or 5 laps. So he's been training at home, and when he does his 20-lap moto, he really tries to crank up the intensity. You know, so getting the top 10 is a big deal in the 450 class. That's when people start looking at you for rides.
Well, and I think the other thing also is he's sitting 22nd in the points. He wants to get up into that top 20.
From the awards banquet.
There's Barsha. We're getting a chance to watch Barsha. He's on a heater right now. Let's see. Oh, hang on to that. Hang on to it, Justin Barsha.
He ain't afraid to do that, though. That was pretty.
Oh, he's pissed. You
Yeah.
see how pissed he is? He came off that jump and he just slammed down.
Well,
he is pissed.
I think that was a good lap that he blew in the whoops,
Like I always tell my kids, hey, you can't change that. Get your head back into it. Don't get mad because you're going to make another mistake. And let's see if he can set up and try to go on another heater right now.
Ryan Dungey, 46-8. Followed by Eli Tomac. Cole Seeley jumps up to 3rd place. Jason Anderson enters the top 5. Told you guys, about 3 minutes to go. Business is picked up. Millsaps is your top 5, followed by Tickle, Short, Reed, Barsha, and Weston Pike, 9th and 10th.
I like Anderson after that 30 he had 2 weeks ago, back on the podium there. It's been a long time since Anaheim won that we saw Anderson on the podium. He's sitting fourth right now. Seeley up there in second, or third rather. But it's the man who leads the championship fight with a 46.8 right now. Tomac right behind him, just a tick off with a 46.9.
I want to remind everybody, 7:30 tonight on Fox Sports 1, a new Behind the Dream. Monster Energy Supercross Behind the Dream with Jason Anderson down at the Baker Factory and all over the place. They're out in California where they were shooting that, but behind the scenes with an interesting character. I really like Jason Anderson. He's got a lot of cool things to say. Good story there. A big, bright future for that guy. Another guy, outdoors, better watch out. He's going to have some speed.
Yeah, he'll do good in the outdoors. Big kid, likes that extra horsepower there, but with that 46.6, I'm not sure. They didn't slow it down too much because Tomac had a 45.2 that first one. So these guys are trying to figure this track out. You know, whatever they lost in those jumps, they're making up in the corner speed right now.
Right. Killian Rusk right there.
Where's our boy, the 7 Deuce Deuce? We got to get our camera guy on the 7 Deuce Deuce and see if he got that new motor going.
He's out there. He's 20th fastest so far. Just behind Nick Schmidt and Ronnie Stewart.
How about our boy Alex Ray making his first main event back in Detroit now. He's in this A group here. He's sitting 22nd right now. Gillian Russ just jumped up, moved Adam Entignap back to 21st.
With about a minute and a half to go, still Ryan Dungey with a 46.6. Eli Tomac's right behind him, 3/10 off though. And Dungey, wow, what a way to finish it! Like I said earlier, there's he's just 2 little hash marks that KTM can scratch off. That's a 450cc victory and a 450cc championship tonight here in Houston at round 14.
Yeah, and he's just going about this as a normal race. You know, he doesn't even know what round it is. When I did that interview with him, he goes, well, whatever round we're in. He's just all about trying to get wins.
Yeah.
And, he's
been pretty good philosophy because he's won 6 out of 13, man.
Yeah, if he wins, the championship will fall into his lap.
He's earned it.
Without a lot of hard work. I was just going to say that.
I'm kind of, we can't count our chickens before they hatch. But
is that our boy Adam? I'm going to get on him. He needs to pick it up a little bit.
If Dungey does win this thing, I'm interested to see how his reaction is. Interested to see
a guy like that, that's what I don't think he'll get excited because the next step, he's still got 3 more rounds to go, and he's got that outdoor. He really, I think, wants to get back-to-back a Supercross championship in that year and an outdoor championship in the same year.
I don't know, man. Pretty special. 2010 was a long time ago. That's when he won in his rookie season.
We should have people tweet in, if Ryan Dungey wins, will he do a heel clicker on the last lap here in the NRG Stadium?
Why wouldn't you? What would you do, Jim?
Oh, I'd go nuts. You know me. You know me.
Oh, yeah. We'd have a big time here in Houston.
Yeah. You ride alongside me with the champagne. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. we would do it correctly. It's fun to dream, though, Jim, huh?
Yeah.
Crazy to think how far away those days were.
I remember some of those races that I won in Europe and stuff. I mean, I just had fun. You got to enjoy it.
Darn right. I remember how much fun I had when I got a top 5 in an arena cross. A lot of fun.
There's our boy, 7 Deuce Deuce. See, now he didn't triple that section like we see. Come on, Adam, you got to pick it up.
Yeah, like you said.
You got to lessen, it's probably over.
They weren't total strangers, but not exactly his
just kind of rolling through the whoops right there.
Putting that bike back together.
Yeah, it looks like that 46.6 for Ryan Dungey is going to hold up.
Not quite the fireworks we saw in qualifying number 1, but Ryan Dungey, your fastest nonetheless. Top 10, Dungey, Tomac, Anderson, Seeley, Tickle, Millsaps. 7th is Reed, 8th is Short, 9th is Baggett, 10th is Justin Brayton.
Yeah, you look at Reed there in that 7th. I mean, where do you put him? I mean, he had fight in the earlier part of it. I mean, he's been 7th before and come back and won these things.
That 7th for Reed doesn't mean anything.
Nope.
He's another guy with the whole shot. He'll drop two seconds off his lap time. But hopefully we're going to hear from Ryan Dungey down here in the podium with Lurch, and hopefully Lurch digs in there and asks him, hey, man, you thinking about the championship?
Look at in 11th and 12th, Spike and Barsha.
Funny how they're right there. Yeah. Stuck together. You know what they finished in the first race of the season.
I was going to say, there's Ryan Dungey's mother and Ryan's wife there. We should have grabbed them.
session. Number 2, the Red Bull KTM and Championship points leader for 2015. Let's give it up for Ryan Dungey. Time's not as fast as we saw in the first qualifier, but it looks like there might have been a couple track changes, or this track is just getting rougher to ride.
Yeah, no, they definitely put a couple walls in there to slow it down a little bit, and made the sand a little tougher, but so doesn't really help us out for timing-wise, but you know, it's good. It's good to know that everything's feeling good, and that's the main thing going into the night show.
You know, walking the track earlier this morning, very tacky surface. Doesn't look like it's losing any of that or getting slick. Almost like wherever you put those tires, it's going to grip and rip.
Yeah, this dirt's got a little moisture in it, and it seems like it's holding. So it'd be good for racing, just being able to have intense racing and good close racing. So, but yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's good to be here in Houston and excited.
You know, let's talk about it. Only one time off the podium in 2015. Tonight could seal the deal for the 2-time Supercross champion. Obviously, championships are always on the mind of a contender, but more relaxed, more focused tonight than you have been all year. Same.
I think you approach it the same, and you know, what we did before, it's working. So I think definitely tonight there's an opportunity, and definitely grateful for that. But you know, there's a lot of racing in between now and then, and that's where our focus is. So.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the Red Bull KTM, the number 5 of Ryan Dungey, and we will see you next week, no doubt for sure. Make sure you tune in live.
Hey, this is Jason Anderson, ride for Rockstar Energy Racing Husqvarna, and you're watching Race Day Live.
And welcome back to Houston. NRG Stadium here, round 14. Fixing to wrap up the show here on Race Day Live. Coming up to our favorite segment of the show, Jim and I. This is what we call our picks, man. Try to pick the podium, and I'm pretty happy to say I picked the podium in the 250 class at St. Louis. So
yeah, I mean, you're on it, but you've had a 2-week break now,
yeah.
So you got to keep that mojo going on. We'll see what happens.
Right. You know, and
we got a guest up though.
We do.
A guest, Nicholas.
Welcome
to welcome to Race Day Live. Give a wave out to the camera out there, man.
Now we're talking.
You enjoying yourself here at NRG Stadium?
Yes, sir.
What do you think of that qualifying session?
I think probably Eli Tomac might get the win.
So you know we're going to do our picks. So is that who you're going to go with your pick? How about second and third?
I think Ryan Dungey will get second.
Okay, I'm going to write this down. So you're going to go with number 3, number 5, and then how about that third spot?
Justin Barsha.
Barsha hasn't been riding in a while. You're going to go with the Barsha, huh? Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, how about the 250 class?
I don't know much about them.
That's all right.
How about the guy that's leading the championship, number 17, Cooper Webb? He's got a chance to win his first championship here. You just pick a manufacturer. Yamaha, Husky, a Honda, a Suzuki.
Probably
Let's do that.
Kawasaki.
Okay, so you're going to go for a Cowie to win. Okay, a Cowie to win. So that would be 911. How about Tyler Bowers? We'll put him down as your pick. Okay. Second now, give me a bike.
A bike
or a rider. What other bike you like besides Kawasaki?
I like Yamaha.
Okay, we'll put a Yamaha there, and we're going to go with the leader, number 17, Cooper Webb. And how about third?
Suzuki.
A Suzuki. Okay, a Suzuki in that third.
Well, we don't have one, but let's go with Vicky Golden.
I'm trying to think. We got to have a Suzuki in that 250 class. We don't have one?
Nope.
You sure?
Unfortunately, we don't. Let's go.
I better talk to Pat Alexander
How about a Honda?
about that.
You know, how about Malcolm Stewart? You know who he is.
Oh yeah, Malcolm
Okay,
Stewart.
all right, we're going to go with a
There
Honda
we go.
then. So, see, we're getting you to smile now, Nicholas. So we're going to go with 34 on that Geico Honda. I mean, you can't miss him. He's got the dreadlocks.
Right.
What about your mom and dad? If you came home and you said, "Dad, I want to grow some dreadlocks," is that happening?
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay, all right.
Where are you from, Nicholas?
Montgomery, Texas.
Right on.
And how far is Montgomery from Houston, this area?
An hour.
Oh, an hour. So you drove here then, right? You drove yourself?
No,
You're 16?
but my dad brought me.
Oh, okay. How old are you anyhow?
10.
10? And what kind of bike you have? You ride, obviously.
I have a KX100.
Oh, KX100. Nice. So that's why you would like the Kawasaki and Bowers to win.
Yes, sir.
All right. It's interesting you didn't pick a Cowie for your 450 class, though, Millsaps.
Well,
Chad Reed.
Yeah, Chad Reed, he's pretty good.
All right, all right.
Good job.
All right, Andy,
Good-
it's our
good-
turn.
good
Who
job.
are you going to go with, Andy?
Well, I'm going to start with the 250 class,
Okay.
and I believe Justin Hill is going to amaze people tonight.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with him for the win. You know, it's hard to bet against Cooper Webb, but I'm kind of stepping out, and I believe Justin Hill's going to get it. I'm going to go throw Cooper Webb in there in second place, which will clinch the championship. Third place is Malcolm Stewart. I would go with Malcolm for the win, but I'm afraid that crash he just had in the whoops. Did you see Malcolm go down in the whoops?
Yeah.
That was a big one, wasn't it?
It looked like he smashed his face into the ground because his bike
flipped over.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Pretty
what we
bad.
were watching. Me and Jim screamed.
Yeah.
We were like, ah!
That was a hard get off. All right, so
Yeah, that's my top three, the
That's your
250.
top three.
Yeah.
Okay, in my pick, I think I'm going to go with Webb to win it. I think Webb's just going to go
Yeah.
out, and I think he's just going to show everybody that he's going to wrap up that championship. I think Bowers is going to end up in that second, and I'm going to go with Justin Hill.
Yeah.
In that third spot there, and those are the same
Shuffle.
picks
Same guys
that
just shuffle.
Kurt Binke, the Minnesota Madman picks. I know Joe Root likes number 17 to win also, and then
Right.
in the 450, go with the 450, Andy.
I've been talking about it all day long, and this Kawasaki's won this thing 3 years in a row with Ryan Villapoto. So I think Chad Reed is going to do it tonight, man. I think he's going to get his second victory. I think he's going to get a good start. It's a technical track. The Thunder from Down Under is going to go talk to his buddy Valentino Rossi and say, hey, mate, I won last night in Houston. So Chad
There's
Reed's
Chad
going to
Reed.
win this thing. Second place is going to be Ryan Dungey. Ryan Dungey's going to wrap up the championship tonight. It's going to be Party City over there in the KTM pits. Him and Roger DeCoster are going to be swinging from the chandeliers. It's going to be awesome. And rounding out the podium, Eli Tomac won't finish any worse than third, I don't think.
All right, so you're going to go with Tomac then for that
Yeah.
third, huh? Okay, number 3 and third. All right, for me, I think I'm going to go with
the win.
Yeah, I think Dungey. I think Dungey's going to go with the win. I know Kurt Binke likes them. I think Dungey's going to go with the win and wrap up this championship. I think that on the other side of it, I think that Tomac's going to get a second. And then in that third, I'm going to put Seeley. I think he's going to get you know what?
Tough.
Yeah, Seeley or Reed, but I think Seeley. I think Cole Seeley's going to get that third. I know Joe Root, he likes Tomac to win. Dungey to finish second and wrap up that championship, and also Cole Seeley in that third. But it's interesting, Kurt Binke, he texted me his picks. He put Barsha up on the podium tonight.
Not
so
bad. So did our
not a
man
bad
right
pick.
here.
But I mean,
Nicholas
the other,
put Barsha in there.
Yeah, so Nicholas, what else you going to do? You've been hanging out in the pits a little bit today, going and getting some autographs and stuff?
Well, I didn't get an autograph. I'm gonna go back at 4:15.
Okay, that's when they line. How cool is that to be able to come to Supercross and your favorite rider get an autograph from the guy? That's pretty neat, huh?
It would be pretty cool.
Yeah, great.
My favorite rider is racing overseas now, though.
Yeah. You've been following that a little bit too, huh? How about the Amsoil Arena Cross Series? You follow much of that?
I've watched it a couple times.
Yeah.
I've seen some of these people in there.
Yeah.
I think it might have just been training, but.
All right. Is this your dream? I mean, you're 10 now. You can get your professional license when you're 16. Are we going to see you when you're 16, 17?
It's either Supercross or football.
All right. Okay.
Pretty good goals right there. Well, hey,
deal.
Nicholas, you did a really good job with this here. Thanks for coming up and joining Jim and I.
Yeah, nice
Help us
meeting you,
close
buddy.
this thing out. Yeah.
Stay here.
Right
We're going to wrap the show out, buddy. We want you on camera. Look at yourself.
That's right. You got to tell them, Nicholas, just like Nick here, if you guys come watch Race Day Live set at any of the remaining 4 races in the Monster Energy Supercross Series, we can put a headset on you. So, come by the set. You never know what's going to happen. But want to thank all of our guests today: Steve Wise, Ralph Shaheen, Austin Politelli. We had Daniel Blair from Arena Cross today. Great show. We want to thank all of our sponsors: Yamaha, MMI, DC Shoes, and Amsoil, of course. Couldn't make it happen without those folks.
One other guy you missed. Can't miss him. The 7 Deuce
We had Adam
Intignap.
Intignap with all his positive vibes in here, getting everybody pumped up. We're going to hope he gets into the main event. Got a big lineup of Primetime TV coming up. We have the re-air of Trey Canard's Behind the Dream, followed by the brand new episode of the Behind the Dream with Jason Anderson. And switch over to Fox Sports 2 at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Round 14 from Houston. It's going to be good.
Especially the main.
That's right.
Bye.
See you guys next week.